And we are live. Welcome to the Rinky Dink Bullshit Podcast with your host, Superfly Jahns. We're going to be talking about Kentucky Wrestling Federation because we got a big show coming up. We got the fair show. And we got, after that, the next big show for the Kentucky Wrestling Federation. And then we got their combination with the metal show. Nick Himes, Skullface Records. It's going to be at the WWME Music Hall, Louisville, Kentucky. We got inside the house to my left, Sean Jahns, the Wrestling Encyclopedia.
Hello, everybody.
And though she's not inside the room right now, we got Emily Rose, the intern. And then to my right here, as you can see, the legendary 0001. Dale
That's not
Bass.
Z Rose. But yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
That's right.
He's his wrestling license was first printed on stone tablets. Oh, I'm sorry, Dale. I didn't mean to say that, buddy.
Well, that's
Slap
okay.
him for that.
No, it's a joke. Good God. I can't make a joke now.
No.
I don't know how many other people have been in the business for 50 years and they're still going on.
That's
Maybe Jimmy Valiant.
possibly.
He's not wrestling. Occasionally he referees, but I haven't talked to him in a number of years.
That's true.
But I know Jimmy was in the ring before I was.
That's right.
Trying to think of anybody else. Maybe Mike Jackson that wrestled for...
Yeah, he's still going on in the South. He still does his spot where he walks the ropes.
He still does that 24/7.
Yeah, something like that.
There's been so many Boogie Woogies. There's been Boogie Woogie Man, Boogie Woogie Boy. Probably even a Boogie Woogie Child.
Yeah, that's true.
It'll happen.
Oh, yeah.
So, Dale, how did you feel about Sunday night's debut for the Kentucky Wrestling Federation?
Well, I enjoyed every match that was out there. Some matches were an edge better than others. There were some new people that were on the card. I had no idea who they were until they actually appeared. J.R. Rock is the one that booked the show. And so there were people there. For example, like Cyrus Riley. Never met him before, never saw him. That was my first opportunity to get a good look at him. And, boy, he's a big, ugly guy. I didn't realize how big and how ugly he was until he actually walked up to me, and I was like, "Hi, how you doing?" Yeah. But yeah, I'm glad to see big guys show up. Not that I don't like the little guys like Ethan Heyer, but when people want to come and watch pro wrestling, they expect to see guys that are like
Larger
6
than
foot
life.
and 240 at least. And they want to see big guys. They want to see truck driver looking guys. And I don't know what Cyrus Riley does for a living, but he definitely has a pro wrestler look to him.
Yes, he does. I've met him face to face. He actually came up to me after the show and he introduced himself to me. We shook hands.
And Frank the Tank against the prospector Wes Barker.
That was a good match.
That was
At least
a good
you didn't get
match.
him confused with the other wrestler.
Yeah,
Max Steel.
Max Steel is still very upset that he became Frank the Tank.
I think Frank got a good laugh about it.
He
honestly.
did.
I heard that Frank was there, and I was kind of like, my attention span wasn't watching the ring all the time. I was kind of like looking 90% everywhere else, and 10% I'd look at the ring and say, somebody just get eliminated? Who?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden I saw Max Steel go over the top rope, and I thought Frank the Tank was one of those that was in the Battle Royal anyway.
He looked like Frank the Tank, about 20 years younger.
And
He looked like him.
I thought that Frank had lost weight. When I saw Max Steel from a distance, and I heard that Frank the Tank was here, so I thought he was out there in the Battle Royal. And from as far away as I was, and I saw a guy go over the rope, I thought, oh, that's Frank. So my mouth opened up without my brain being hooked to it real quick, and it just flew right out of my mouth. Frank the Tank eliminated!
Hell
like,
yeah.
And then Frank is sitting off to the side, in front of me, and all of a sudden he stands up, Dale Bass! And I'm like, oh my God.
That's my favorite part, too.
Yeah.
You think we all look alike?
Yeah. And,
My favorite part.
And then that's when I actually looked at Frank, and I realized Frank's got grayish hair, and the guy in the ring's hair was solid black. And then Frank hasn't lost any weight. He's as big as he ever was. And then I looked back at the other guy and thought, who the world is that? Oh, that's Max Steele. Duh. Well, I sure ain't going to get on the microphone and go, oh, sorry, everybody. That was, no. I just let it pass. And I went over to Frank, and Frank and I had a good laugh, and I told him, well, I thought, since I hadn't seen you for a number of years, I thought you just lost a few pounds here and there and, dyed your hair black, and I thought that was you out there. Well, nope. Frank still has to buy 2 airline seats whenever he takes a flight. He's still as broad as the doorway and squeezes his way in.
That's right.
Yeah, he's the tank.
Old Frank the Tank got mad and wanted to chase after you, didn't he? Because you were rocking away and he was chasing after you.
I'm sure I could outrun him.
That's true.
I mean, once he gets going, I'd hate to be in front of him to stop him, but he'd have to do something to catch me. If he was mad at me, he'd have quite a chase.
He is a Frank the Tank.
How many people are in Kentucky wrestling that actually are bigger than Frank? I mean, there might be some guys taller than Frank.
Taller, yes.
How many are
not
there?
as big as Frank, so.
Frank is built like a tank. He
really
thick and wide, broad, solid. Just kind of had me wondering, is there anyone actually any bigger?
That's true. Is there anyone actually bigger than Frank the Tank? Because that man's name instills fear in all of his opponents, and Wes Barker was even showing some fear that night. But he still put up a good fight with him.
Wes is a good friend of mine now since he came down from Canada and been down here for months. And I enjoy every time I see him on any circuit, whether it be Appalachian or the United States Wrestling Federation, or now since he's with Kentucky Wrestling Federation. But he's spreading his name all over.
Exactly.
And people don't realize when it comes to Wes Barker, his history. All the titles he actually held when he was up in Canada. Yeah. He was a name up in Canada, wrestling for all sorts of circuits. And then he comes down here as a unknown, doing it all over.
We got to meet him actually for signing a couple months back. He actually introduced himself to us, introduced his name as the Prospector. He took a picture with us. Him and Marty Clay's actually formed a formidable tag team together.
Yeah.
They've been turning it up.
I haven't seen them tagging, but knowing the ability of both of them together, that's going to be a good team.
That's right.
Now, I know when it comes to big guys, other than Frank the Tank, there's, in the last half a year or so, I think there's a couple circuits that had several 7-footers on their promotion.
There has been a few of them.
Adrian Alexander, that's the first one that comes to my mind.
Yeah.
I think he's had at least 2 of them. I think one's called American Giant.
Yeah, he's got the American Giant. He's got Doomsday, which is close to 7 foot.
And then there was another guy that was well over 7 foot, and he couldn't wear shoes. Do you remember him? His feet were so huge.
I remember him.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean,
couldn't tell you.
I don't know how much they'd weigh. They probably, being 7 foot, 7 foot plus, as big as they were, maybe they might have outweighed Frank. Maybe they are bigger than Frank is. But if I had to pick Frank against one of them in a win, I'd pick Frank to take the win.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's true.
I mean, they don't move swift. Frank can move. Frank is a big man that can really cut loose in the...
And he can splash you, because if you're someone that's inside his way, you're going to get splashed or you're going to be squashed.
That's why I said if he's mad at me and goes to chase me, it's going to take some while for him to get going, but I'll be long gone.
That's right.
I'm not going to let Frank grab me.
And not to mention that Wes Barker just had a match at Appalachian Mountain Wrestling the night before he came to debut against Frank the Tank. And I gotta tell you, there's a hard-hitting affair between both of them.
Who did Wes wrestle?
Wes wrestled Lord Murphy Coskin.
Yes. I saw him when I went over to watch that promotion back several months ago. I went with Hustler Rip Rogers, and there was a special meet and greet with Rip Rogers and all this other. I went down there with Rip, sat at the table with him, and Rip went into the back. About 15 minutes later, Bobby Blade comes out, calls out Hustler Rip Rogers. Rip Rogers.
Nice.
You know about that?
Yes, I was there. I was there.
We were there that night.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Came walking out there, talking with Rip. Next thing you know, it's this big old, what is he, Irish?
Yes, he is Scottish.
Came out there. Scottish, that's it.
He is the Scottish man.
And I had seen him on a couple of USWF shows that I was working. And he's a nice guy. But boy, he's got, I don't know how long he's going to stay in the area, but he can really make a name for himself too.
Hell yeah, he can, because he's
talented.
been turning it up in Appalachian Mountain Wrestling for almost a couple years now, and right now he's on the run of his life. He fought John Noble in John Noble's last match in Jackson, Kentucky. Of course, John Noble won that match.
I heard that John had his last match at Jackson,
Yep.
but I had no idea who it was.
And it was up against Lord Murphy
And
Coskin.
he did take a win.
He did.
Yeah.
So,
But then he got attacked
By a
was
masked
nice.
man.
by a masked man.
Any idea?
Well, I do have a few. It might be Mr. Mary McCheese. It could have been
Is that an actual wrestler?
no.
I was just thinking.
That's only not.
I'm just throwing.
You know,
I'm just
I'm
I'm
throwing
thinking-
Donald's name there, but
The way he was throwing his, when he picked up behind him, was throwing left hands. It reminds me of Chris Michaels.
It does.
I hope I'm.
really,
Yeah, I don't know if it was. I didn't know Chris was there. That
I mean,
night.
we do got pictures.
The way he was throwing those punches was something the way Chris Michaels would do it.
I mean, is he really?
But then again,
We didn't see Chris Michaels that night either.
yeah, because
Gotta
everybody
remember that.
came out for the.
he'd be a good ad to that promotion.
Yes,
He would.
Any promotion he goes to, he's a good ad.
Definitely, because Chris Michaels is the headliner. You can't do a promotion without bringing in the headliner.
His history.
Oh yeah.
He has history in the business. I watched his, I guess you say it's a WWF tryout
Yeah.
he had at Rupp Arena years ago when he went against, trying to think what the guy's name was back then, but it was John Cena when he was underneath a different name.
Prototype.
Yep, the prototype.
And it was an OVW versus
WWE.
versus Chris Michaels,
Yeah.
but they called him by a different last name.
Yeah.
Obviously.
And so I remember sitting up there watching. Oh, Chris is out there. Hey, my buddy Chris. And who's that guy he's wrestling against? Dang. And the guy got out there and he handled Chris. Chris had his opportunities to show and all
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah, had his hope spots.
Then later on, I'm seeing John Cena on TV with Kurt Angle.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh, that's that guy that got a hold of Chris down in Rupp Arena.
Yeah, Chris.
We all know what's going on with him nowadays.
Yeah.
I don't watch WWF on TV anymore,
Yeah.
or any of the others. I don't watch any of that on TV. The only one I actually watch on TV is WOW, Women of Wrestling,
Yeah.
because of Jessie Belle Smothers is on there, Amazing Maria is on there, and
Hollywood Haley J was on
yeah,
there.
yeah. And you see who the referee is from time to time?
Yep.
Maximo Suave.
So,
It's just Suave.
I watch that, and I know it's not on the same level as a WWE or AEW.
Right.
I just got out of watching it about 14 months ago. Just don't watch it anymore. But I have Sirius Radio, and it's turned to Busted Open all the time. So anytime I get
Nice.
in my car, I listen to Busted Open. and I hear them talking about, oh, so-and-so's here, so-and-so's there, this is what they did.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I guess I miss seeing Jade wrestle, and that's okay.
Yeah.
A bunch of others. But I'm not interested enough to want to go turn the TV on and start watching them again.
True.
When you start watching that, you get hooked. And I spent too much time watching all of this stuff, and now I'm a little bit too busy.
I understand.
Every time I turn around, and I'm not complaining. It's like every time I turn around, J.R. Rock and I have got something else in the works that we're doing. We're spending time, doing this, doing that.
What's up, Andrew Browning?
Dude.
But you're right. You're busy. You're doing your thing. AEW is not where it's at.
There.
Because last time that I watched AEW was a pay-per-view. And even though it finally ended earlier than it normally does, not one match.
Didn't have blood. Every match had blood.
Exactly.
It just killed the allure.
And it killed every spot that should have been mythical.
No, that tag match at the beginning didn't have blood.
That's true.
Adam Copeland and Christian Cage against Kill Switch and Kip Sabian. That didn't have blood. But every other match after that had blood. That kills the allure.
I know I would have liked to have seen that match between Mariah May,
And
is that her name?
Yeah, and
Like
Tony
Tony
Storm.
Because I understand that was something.
That was a
And
match.
I kind of wished, I guess I could look it up on the internet and go watch it, but as I hear that was something. Busted Open is still talking about that match.
Yeah, they
how great
are.
it was. Tony Storm, how great she has turned into. In WWE, she couldn't be the way she is now. She just
Exactly.
couldn't be that, and she's way more comfortable, and her character is way better. And I hear them talking about it, but I'm a Thunder Rosa fan.
Yes, Thunder Rosa is definitely one of the best ones. But I will say that match is something that you should check out.
I need to.
Yeah.
I mean,
if
I've
they
never
book Thunder Rosa right, because
Remember-
AEW, they were book people, and then give it about a month, maybe 2 months, and then they're off into obscurity. It's like they had a chance to strap a rocket, as they say, to insert name here of certain talent, and next thing I know, they're on the opening show of Collision, which nobody watches.
That's because they don't know how
Or
to push.
they go. That's what I'm trying to insinuate, James.
And what has happened to the dentist?
Brett Baker, I don't know. She's trying to, I believe, personally,
I
she's
think she was
trying to
fired.
get out of her. No, she's not. She's still
She's
under
not?
contract.
Yeah, she's still
He's
under
not.
contract.
He's not going to let her out of her contract. He's going to be. Tony Khan is going to be petty about this, which I get it. WWE has done that too, so they're no better.
That's true.
They're just going to do what they said it in the business.
If she becomes available, she'll get snatched up as quickly.
Yeah,
I think WWE's eyeing her, honestly.
they are. They did. Somebody did an interview and they kind of mentioned her. So that's basically saying, hey, we got our eye on you, Britt Baker.
I think they want her, but they're not going to
They're
say anything or do anything. But the moment she becomes available, all of a sudden,
100%.
they're coming right in.
You damn Skippy.
That's
because
exactly
they're gonna
what's going
get
to
it.
happen.
But back to KWF.
Yes,
Because you finally got to see this Michael Montana. What were your first thoughts on him?
That's the second time I've seen him.
Oh, the second time.
Yep.
Tell us about the first time.
The first time, I believe it was Carrollton, Kentucky, Carroll County Fair. It was for the USWF. He was on the card, and he was a pretty boy, but he was fan favorite pretty boy. He wasn't like what he was that we saw this past Sunday. And to see him parading around, well, even before the doors opened, and you saw how he was walking around, strutting around, and looking all pretty, had eye glitter and all that stuff on. I kind of looked at him, and I said, "Is it Mike Montana, like it was in Carrollton, Kentucky, for USWF, or what?" Don't call me Michael. So okay, you're Michael.
Yep.
And is there anything else you want me to say about you? And, nope. Just say where I'm from. And I'm trying to think. Prussia. And he told me he wanted me to announce him from Prussia. And I said, Prussia? You want me to say you're from Prussia? Yep. Okay. You know, like, I'll announce whatever you say, you know, Prussia. And then he strutted around like that. Yeah, he had a good opponent.
He did.
Yeah.
Mr. Larger Than Life,
Yeah.
Ethan Hire.
And Ethan is quite surprising. People look at him like, what the world? You got this guy that's, 5 foot, who knows? You know, and he's out there in suspenders and the way his clothes are. You know, like, he's got to be the comedy act of the circuit. And, yeah, you get him out there and you watch him do things that all the other wrestlers can't do.
That's right. And what they put on one hell of a match because he was German suplexing Ethan Hire like he was nothing.
And that's the
3
first time
times
they
he got
met.
him.
I don't think they've ever met, because I know the area where Michael Montana comes out of, and I know that not that he has to get the okay from where he came from, but if he has a booking somewhere, he gets it cleared from them that he's taking a booking for these people.
Yeah.
And usually he gets the thumbs up. You know, they just want to know, like, okay, you're our boy. Who you wrestling for? We want to know where you're at. Okay? There'd be no problem for him to come and work for JR and me. Be no problem for him to come and work for Rated X Jimmy Walls and USWF. Even working for Appalachian. Be no problem at all. But they did put on quite a nice little bout, you know, all the little things they were doing back and forth. And we had that 3-way that turned into a slap fest several times.
Yeah, that was sick. I mean, I enjoyed it. It was a great match, but
I enjoyed it.
Austin Diamond was whooping on Mike's ass and Cass Jackson's.
well, everybody was throwing chops. I I lost count of how many chops were
For a
thrown.
while, it looked like they were trying to out-sound each other.
Yes.
They were.
Because one guy was up there and it was like,
Oh, Jacob Ratliff
nothing.
said, "What's up, Dale?"
hey, Jacob!
Mr. No Good Jacob Ratliff.
He'll be there in Louisville.
Hell yeah.
Yes, he will.
Yeah, I noticed that when they were doing the chops, you know, the first several got up there, it was like,
Yeah.
you know, like, what? Did somebody just chop somebody? And then the next guy up there, like,
Yeah, and then they
and
hit the
then you got up there, like, yeah, oh, yeah, everybody loved hearing that.
Gave that.
I mean, why do a chop if it can't be heard in the back row?
Very
true. Very true. You got to make it. You got to make it sound.
And then why do some people also, when they go to
think
chop
that's
somebody, they lick their palm? Like, what
Tuffy
good does
used
that
to do
really
that.
do?
It
I think that's the
wets
first
it
time
down
I've
when you
seen
got
a
a
chop.
sweaty, when you're dripping
What?
in sweat.
I think that's the first time I had ever seen a chop in person.
It probably was.
Nice.
And it's, you lick your hand, it gets it wet, kind of like if you
Is it
slap
supposed to
something.
help the sound?
I believe so. And it also stings like hell. Like
I
if you
mean-
wet your hand and slap somebody across the back as hard as they could. With the wet hand, it really stings like hell.
You could.
Tuffy
your hand-
did that to me once.
When I was growing up, the way I was hearing it in the wrestling business, if you want to slap somebody, you put the muscle down and
Really go through with it.
you make
make
it
it.
sound
Yeah.
that way.
You slap that meat.
Because
You
I-
don't just walk up and go, like, well, you're
Mm.
expecting to hear Michael Jackson's, tee, you know, after you hit
Yeah.
something like that. Like, you know,
Oh,
don't
100%.
slap it like a little girl or something. Get up there and slap it like you mean it. And, you know, when the person, like, matches where when the wrestlers get done and they go back in the dressing room and 5 minutes later you see these handprints start to materialize all
Yep.
across your chest and like, God, you know, so yeah. You know, you like to see it where when you get a chop or two, you see blood start coming out of
Jacob
his-
Ratliff wants to ask you who has the best chop in wrestling.
You know, I was actually sitting there thinking that in the back of my mind over the years. You know, like names come up like Vic the Bruiser
Oh, God.
and Tuffy.
Tough.
Tuffy.
Yeah.
You know.
Sorry,
yeah.
we each have taken Tuffy's chop. And we each took Tuffy Jr.'s chop.
Yeah.
Tuffy's oldest son.
And for quite a while, there was like Vic the Bruiser's got the nastiest, hardest slap.
I'll
And
give him
then
that.
Tuffy's name started creeping into the picture. And I've been close enough to see all the chops. And if I had to pick a number one, it would be Tuffy.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Man,
You've got my vote for.
He does.
You
hit
got my
you.
agreement on that one.
You know, he does hit you early in the match with a good slap. You know, like while you're still in there wrestling, all of a sudden everybody sees the handprint coming up.
Yes.
You know, and 2 slaps, you start seeing these little blood veins starting to materialize. You know, like, yeah. When he started in the wrestling business, I remember probably the first couple of weeks, maybe the first couple of months he started, and he actually went out, not as Tuffy, but it was, I guess, his shoot name. And that was a long time ago. After ICW folded up, Dr. McAttack, Ron Starr, and I started up ICW Next Generation, and we were running shows in Lexington over by Henry Clay.
What's up, James Kendrick? He said, I would like to think my chops are pretty good.
Yours are good.
We'll let him and Tuffy trade chops, and we'll see.
Yes. Hey, Tuffy, if you're anywhere out there, how about you and James Kendrick trade chops? Come on, guy. Get your chopping hand ready, because you're going to have to teach James Kendrick who's got the tougher chop.
Knowing Tuffy, if he was actually challenged,
Oh, yeah.
he'd show up.
He took a challenge from
God.
Johnny. Johnny challenged him that
He
night. He
would-
chopped Johnny.
I told him, hey, you got one more, so how about you chop me? He got up and he did this arm instead of this one, because Braxton Jr., Tuffy Jr. had already done this. So he said, I'll do the other one.
Did he give you a real chop? Or
Yes.
did he just give you
He gave me a real one.
He went full
He did
bore.
not, he did not hold back at all.
did it have the handprint on it later?
It did.
Yeah.
So did Tuffy Jr.'s. And that was Tuffy Jr.'s first time ever
And
chopped.
you got one in the middle from Austin Diamond.
Yep. But it did not leave a handprint.
Well, if Tuffy ever
It
shows
probably
up,
did. You just couldn't see it over the other two.
if Tuffy ever shows up to any place, you know, anybody that feels like they can do a chop needs to go over to Tuffy and say, let's exchange a couple back and forth, just so, like, you know, for general knowledge. Let's just see who can.
There
really
was
do it.
somebody who said your chops ain't shit. Too Tuffy. They're in an intermission ass show.
Oh, that's
Tuffy-
asking for trouble.
Tuffy didn't go full 100%. You know,
When he gives you
Pull.
a shot 100%, you're not standing.
no.
You're damn
he
skippy.
didn't.
He will slap you, and
He
you will
didn't
go
give
down.
me. He didn't give the guy 100% chop, but he gave him probably 60%. The guy was like, "Oh," I said, "Next time you shut your mouth." Then he was training. Tuffy went full bore. They did a spot where shoot you off the ropes. Bear would throw a clothesline. You take the clothesline, and as you're getting up after taking Ray the Bear Steel's clothesline, Tuffy would come in with the chop. Tuffy made the guy take his shirt off during training. He goes, "No, take your shirt off. We're going to run that spot again." What the heck? You got ducky sound text, Dale?
Did you hear the duck?
I did. I heard
Yeah,
the duck
when-
quack.
Quack, quack.
Yeah, that's a text.
Oh,
And
okay.
when someone calls me, it's Bad to the Bone plays.
Oh, nice.
That's been my theme music for like
Yes, it
45 years.
Nice.
Bad to the bone.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tuffy's chops are devastating. He also likes to use pliers when he's not wrestling.
Shut
Sean
up.
knows all about that.
Shut up. He always carried a pair of pliers just to goof around. He had one. He grabbed me right by
Yeah.
my nipple. I'm like, what the? He goes, "Nah, I'm just messing with you."
In a match,
Oh, God.
are you familiar with what he does in a match?
You'd have to.
He does the nipple thing in the match.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, you're in there wrestling, and next thing you know is he comes at you like that, and if you're not aware of what he's doing, he will grab you and
first time
make
ever
you
seeing.
submit because he puts
First
it
time
to you.
ever saw him
Make
actually
me
wrestle
cry.
was in a battle royal. He was in a battle royal for MWA. It was over here at the old Continental Inn, which it's not there anymore.
Right.
And he was doing everything. He had one guy in the corner and just went through him. I forget who it was. And the guy was wearing a singlet tough. He pulled the straps down on the singlet so you couldn't move your arms.
Yeah.
And just went through chopping like pow, pow, pow.
The chop
Like,
party.
I counted about like 5 or 6 chops like that. I'm like, God, stop.
Does this show everybody that's watching?
Yep,
It shows
it
everybody
shows-
making comments.
Yeah, it
Only
does.
those that make comments.
Yeah, we have other groups we're in too that we share
Okay.
before we go. So yeah, there'll be a lot. We'll know more or less about tomorrow from how many total views we got.
It is a chop party when Tuffy decides he's gonna chop the shit out of you.
Hey, from what I hear, Tuffy's talking about coming out of retirement. Now, that remains to be seen, but I know he'll end up doing it.
How long ago did you see him?
When I saw him this past Saturday.
Then you
But-
see what his condition is.
Yeah.
He can get back in the ring.
Oh, he could.
Yeah.
Well, he had came to. We were at a show in Danville for Adrian Alexander, the Elite Wrestling Alliance show.
That's the last time I saw him. Was what?
Yeah, I think you may have been there that night. We're sitting there, we're setting up our T-shirts and stuff, our merch, and he's like, "You're doing that?" He goes, I'm letting you know." He comes, talks to me. I guess you were somewhere else,
Yeah.
and he goes, just comes to me and said, "I'm coming out of retirement." I'm like, "All
He
right."
said that.
Yeah, he said that. "I'm training, coming out of retirement." I said,
I like to think that that's
All right,
because
man.
of us.
I will 100% agree with you on that. You thought I was going to say I 100% take credit for it. I'm not taking credit for it. But I like to say we do have a small part to play in him coming out of retirement. Hell, Bobby Blade, you know him, you love him. He actually came to us and was... we invited him on one day. We had no guests. And I said, "Well, I know Bobby Blade because I'm friends with him on Facebook." I said, "I can ask him. Worst he can say is no." I said, "Get him in here."
He lives like 3 miles from me.
Yeah, he lives right up the road here. It's not that far. And I said, "Well, I don't know if I'd have any stories to tell." I said, "Bobby, you've been in the business practically forever, as long as I've known you. And you've got stories to tell." He's been on here 3 or 4 times, and he's still got more. It's not the same stories each and every time. He's got more stories that we didn't know before.
Have you ever been to his house?
I have not had that pleasure.
He has several rooms that are about this size or bigger.
Yeah.
When you step through the door,
I have seen his collection of wrestling DVDs.
he's
Wrestling
seen him in person or saw pictures.
I saw a video on YouTube he
Okay.
put up there.
Yeah, you step in. He's got like 3 rooms, and he said, "Let me take you to the old WWF room." Yes.
Hell yeah.
And you step in this room about this size, and it's shelves all across the walls. There are like 8 shelves in a row, 8 shelves in a row, 8 shelves, 8 shelves, and start to finish. He's got all of the DVDs, collections from
Yes.
going back 20, 25, 30, anything that ever appeared,
Yes.
he's got it.
He's
He
got
says,
it.
"Well, this is a WWF room.
Yeah.
So you
And
want to
he's
go
got-
see the one for TNA and Impact? Oh, go
Yeah,
to a different
he's got
room.
one
There
over
it
there.
is, and he's got the action figures
my
and
God.
dolls.
Yes.
And anything that was for sale, he's got.
Yeah.
And you go into a different room, Impact and TNA and WCW, that's another room that's start to finish. And they're not, I don't think they're put alphabetically. I think they're put about at the date of the events. And it's just
Like I
wall
saw
after
his
wall after wall.
what I recall of his WWF, WWE style thing, it's by event. Kind of like Royal Rumble,
Got
all
all
the
the-
Royal Rumbles in one, WrestleMania,
Yeah.
their thing, SummerSlam,
Yeah, that
Survivor
is
Series
right.
type deals.
Yeah.
One of those type deals.
That is right. He did have them all put together that way there. From WrestleMania 1
Oh
going
my
on
God.
through.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, a nut.
A replica. And then he has, I wouldn't
He's-
say a room, but at least one part of a room of independent, and then he's like got stuff for every MWA that he could find. His YouTube channel, search up Lone Wolf Bobby Blade on YouTube. His YouTube channel is a great Kentucky wrestling history because it's not just MWA.
Well-
it's every promotion that he's ever worked for.
I
And
gave
it's not
him-
just matches involving him.
I gave him every VHS tape. I
Yes.
gave him every one I had from every circuit I've been part of, going from Dale Mann's promotion,
Yep.
my promotion with Joe Bailey for BBW, Rated X's, a bunch of other promotions. I lent him all of these DVDs, and he said in exchange he was going to make me some. I gave him VHS tapes, and he was going to make me DVDs in return.
Right.
Then I get my tape back. I get the disc back, and he makes his own disc. And in exchange, I knew that he was going to take them and put them on his page. And all he says, just if you do that, you got any of mine you put on there, just say at the very beginning, give me credit for them. That this came from my collection.
Yeah.
So I probably gave him about 150 of all sorts of stuff, including back in BBW days.
Yeah.
You did him a great service.
I gave him a bunch.
Yep.
And my collection, other than just my collection, I gave him the collection that came from Mike Mann, which was Dale Mann's collection.
Yep.
Of what few remained. Mike Mann was only able to give me about 10% of what Dale originally had. The other 90% was apparently at some house or some trailer or something somewhere else, and Mike didn't have a good relationship with them and couldn't go and secure all those things.
Oh my goodness, that's pitiful.
And it was the same way with like Joe Bailey. Every time that we were kicking out anything, you're like, I want a copy. I was lucky if I got a copy. Later on, as time went on, I was able to get a lot of copies.
Yep.
Even a bunch of the promotions. So over the years, and then I kept a record when I started 50 years. About 10 years in is when I stopped doing the wrestling refereeing thing, and I was spending more time back behind, being on the mic, doing everything from advertising. That's all areas of the advertising: magazines, newspapers, signs, posters. I was doing all that and announcing, and then it started branching off. I was writing for magazines, and then I was being brought in. I would buy into a promotion because financially they were starting to get in trouble, and so I would buy in, be half owner here, half owner there, and it just kept escalating.
That just makes you one of the smartest businessmen right there.
Well, during that time when I left wrestling and refereeing, and I still refereed from time to time on, but when I left there and I started working behind the scenes, I was, I would announce a show. I would have everything written down from first match to last match. I'd have the time limit, how long the bout went, who won and how he won, pin, DQ, such. And then I kept that paper and put it into a folder underneath that promotion's name. Back years ago when I was doing with Dale Mann in Georgetown, my folders were listed by years. So, like 78. Here's all the shows that Dale Mann ran in Georgetown and some other shows that I appeared on with him. Here's all the 78. And then here's the folder for 79. Here's the folder for 80. And Bobby Blade has been to my house. He's seen the box that starts them. And J.R. Rock has been there and seen it. Vic the Bruiser has seen it. But then I went from doing the years. After a while, I was doing so many different promotions. I then started up, here's BBW, here's Delthea Rich and Dollar Circuit, here is this guy's circuit, here is that guy's circuit. And then you look at them, and it would start from whenever I started to work for them, and every show in between going all the way up to the current time.
So what you're saying is that you're the guy who remembers the records.
I kept records on everybody. Like when the word was going on about Stan Sierra and how many years he's held the belt over there for Appalachian.
Yeah.
I was approached.
Oh, wait. We got something here. It's Clammy Jane. She said, I chopped the hell out of old Johnny Big Head, but he don't want to talk about it because it was weak.
Oh, that ain't what she said.
Also,
who's that?
That's Calamity Jane.
No, who is this?
Johnny, Mr. Big Head, right here.
That's you?
Yes.
She chopped you?
Jay Skinner was a great trainer for our match in Salina, Tennessee. Max Steele caught a few chops in that Battle World too. All gnarly. Tactics aside, anyone I mean, everyone send good vibes and healing to Bobby Blade, a.k.a. Simba. Best gaming collection ever. Hi, Jonathan. Hi, Dale. Ha, ha, ha.
No, I'm not Jonathan.
Stan Sarah is a saint, she said.
My name is Sean, not Jonathan.
That's James Kennedy. He said, I miss the BBW days.
Yeah.
Yes, Stan Sierra is a good wrestler, Jane.
I was approached by Appalachian asking me about Dale Mann and his history. And I know there was a stretch of time in Georgetown and all around Kentucky that he went over 5 years without dropping the belt.
I've heard of that.
I told that to them, and they kind of looked at it as, well, what years was that? And I told them what the year span was. So they looked at it as, well, that's the old era. So now Stan Sierra is the new era. And he's got the longest record for the new era. Now, Stan Sierra in his heyday against Dale Mann in his heyday,
Very true.
I'd have to take Dale Mann.
Yep.
You damn Skippy. Dale Mann would destroy Stan Sierra because they can't say that's the old era because that's disrespectful to the era that came before. Dale walked so Stan could run.
It's just knowing the way Dale was. I came into working with Dale Mann after I'd say he missed his high point of his wrestling career. I mean, he was wrestling in Indianapolis for Bruiser. And thanks to Dale Mann, that's how I got over there and was able to get bookings from Bruiser. But Dale was down all over Tennessee. Years ago, I asked Dale, because I knew he had these opportunities. And he was working with the Masked Interns and Kangaroos and all these famous people. And I asked him, like, why are you staying here in Kentucky? Why didn't you branch on out and stay out there? And he told me that he made kind of like a promise to his mother that he would leave the business.
Yeah.
She didn't like him being a pro wrestler. You know, it's too dangerous. You're going to get hurt. And he kind of promised her that he would not travel, not do this no more. Well, not that he lied, but promise never happened. She passed away, and he continued. But during that time, she made him promise that he wouldn't go out and do it. That's when he decided no more Indianapolis, no more going down to Memphis and Nashville, no more going over here to Virginias and Carolinas, and Dale brought his act back and stayed in Kentucky. So basically every time he ran a show, he could go home at night. He might not get home till 2, 3, or 4 in the morning, depending upon where he ran shows, but Dale stayed in Kentucky and
That's right.
Kind of made his mother okay. But he had promised her that he was going to get out of the business, and he never really did.
As it happens, because sometimes the sacrifice does happen because he loved the sport of wrestling too much. But that's also a big win for Kentucky because we got to have Dale T. Mann here always showing off his talent and also his great business sense as well.
Well, when Dale came along, at the time when he came, there might have only been maybe 6, 7 promoters in the state of Kentucky. And he had a good crew of people. Eddie Browning was one of those, trained by Dale Mann and such. Eddie Browning then got involved with John Noble and got John Noble trained. So I guess
That's
John
right.
Noble would say that Eddie Browning is the one that trained him, but then he also worked a lot with Dale Mann. Well, when Dale Mann came in, he pretty well set the tone for everybody that worked with him, that learned under him, what a wrestling show is supposed to look like. Like, if you have 6 matches, it's 3, 2, and 1, intermission. How there's just so much that Dale taught everybody about how the business is supposed to be run, how you were supposed to act.
Damn Skippy.
And then he trained people before all the shows. He'd get the ring up, and he'd have a ring crew. They'd get the ring up, and then the doors would be closed, and he'd be in there with everybody training them on just about everything. You know, like, well, we had a fantasy camp. You saw the fantasy camp. Dale would sit there for an hour and work with you on your lockups. And I was biting myself while I was sitting back there watching when they were doing the lockups, you know, how you stand, how you put your hands, where you put your hands. And I was watching that. Boy, I wanted to jump out of my chair and go up there and start critiquing, like what I saw Dale Mann do with wrestlers years ago. You know, like when you do that, your hips are straight, your shoulders are straight, you know, like, and I so wanted to go up there and lock up with somebody and do one of the simple exercises to show how off balance you are when you're not standing with your shoulders and your hips straight. Because when you're standing, you're like this and you lock up with somebody, if the guy on the other end is smart, he takes the hand and he pushes you and you're off balance and you fall over. And that's why they train you when you're coming up, you're trained to shoulder straight, hips straight, lock up, where you put your hand, how to roll into the standing wrist lock and all this stuff. And they just don't do it anymore. Like nowadays, you see people lock up. And the old way is when you lock up, you put your hand, your right hand will go behind their neck, cup their neck like this.
Yeah.
Nowadays, when you see a lot of guys go up, they go and lock up, and this hand that's usually supposed to be behind your neck is now dangling loose over the guy's shoulder like this. Dale Mann would come out there and slap your hand. Every time if you did something like that, he'd come out, bam.
You got to have your hand around the back of the neck with this hand like this.
And it's all pertaining to balance. Even when you lock up with a guy and you got your hand behind his neck, you are helping his balance too, to keep him right there. Because if these guys are locking up, and they're locking up like this, and you put your hand behind the guy's head, his balance is off. You just give him a little push, and he's flopping back.
Exactly.
And it makes him look like a goof. So if you got somebody like that and you hook behind with your hand, you're supposed to kind of like take your hand.
Yeah, because you're actually guiding the person's head to stay right there while you are
and you can
going
tell,
at it.
You can
You
tell
control
how
the
well
head,
a guy
you
is.
control the body.
You can tell how well a guy is trained when you start seeing all these little things like locking up and your shoulders aren't straight, your hips are not straight. If you're locking up like this, like who? One of the first things you want to do is, who trained you?
Exactly.
Who's the one that brought you into the business? You know, and Bobby Blade, for an example, which I hope he doesn't get upset over this. I don't think he will. But when he broke into the wrestling business, he broke in with someone that shouldn't have been in the wrestling business in the first place. You know, he'd admit that too. But then he had the opportunity to go to Dale Mann, and Dale Mann got a hold of him, and it was like, who trained you how to do this? So. Well, who trained you how to do that? So when you talk to Bobby Blade, like, who officially trained you? He'll go, oh, well, the one that really trained me is Dale Mann. Because Dale Mann showed him how to do things correctly. Well, Dale Mann did that with wrestler after wrestler after wrestler for years and years in Georgetown, in Jackson, in Monticello, in Danville, and all around Kentucky. Whenever he set that ring up, he was training with people at every show. As long as the doors were closed and we weren't doing it all, he would be out there working on people, balance, lock up, wrist lock.
Because that's what a good trainer does.
And you would be part of a ring crew. Whether you wrestled on the show or not, you'd be part of a ring crew. You'd go out there, you'd get that ring together. As soon as you get that ring together, you got more time for being out there, being in the ring to work out before the doors open. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's just everybody had Eddie Browning, he went through all this. He was no doubt part of ring crew at the very beginning, and he was being trained in the ring. He didn't have to wait for Dale Mann to always come into his town before he traveled. And he was part of ring crew, and he got to wrestle. And I remember when he was wrestling as Eddie Browning, and then there was like 2 different masked characters that he was. I remember seeing them, so he had his opportunity. But during all that time, he's working with Dale Mann. He's learning the correct way to stand, to position your shoulders, your hips, all these other moves, how to correctly pick up a person to body slam, how to correctly be picked up by a person to be body slammed.
Yep.
With the hand placement, the the feel of the lift because you don't sit there and go up. Some of these trainers nowadays, when they grab a hold of you, you see them go,
Exactly.
You see them do that. Like, no, that's the wrong way. You grab a hold of somebody, and when the guy grabs a hold of you, you can feel when he's ready to go.
Yeah.
It's more like this, not like
Exactly.
Not like that. And Dale Mann trained so many people. And as the years went on, they went out and they started training people, whether they became a wrestling promoter or not.
That's not
But they started training people the same way Dale learned. And I have long time forgotten who it was that trained Dale Mann. But, Dale was in, I've been in for 50. I wouldn't doubt Dale was probably in for 50, but I don't remember who trained Dale. He told me, I just don't remember. But he was trained the right way. So he trained all these other people the right way. And they are going out and they are hopefully training people the right way. So you got all these people now that are in the wrestling business here in the Indies, and you see them on the shows. And for me, I sit back and I watch the shows like this. I don't sit there and clap, and I don't do any of that. I quietly sit there and watch, and I'm sitting there thinking, balance is off, hip placement, shoulders wrong, and I'm seeing all these things thinking, like, who trained this nitwit? Well, it wasn't one of the guys that was ever trained by Dale Mann. Dale Mann had a big hand in training Danny Fargo, who was my tag team partner, and he and I started together with Eric Embry, and I started through a guy called Homer Ridley that was the original Masked Marvel, and he settled down in Kentucky. And Danny Fargo, I'm not sure who he actually broke in with, Danny Fargo and Eric Embry, but they were working for Larry Bolin, who was one of the original Scufflin' Hillbillies here in Kentucky. And there were other Scufflin' Hillbillies. Well, Larry Bolin was one of them. And he was a promoter. He was running Owensboro with a guy called Phil Hedden. And he was running all sorts of other towns throughout Kentucky. And he ran a show I wrestled on. And I wrestled this big guy that was two, 3 times bigger than me. And he beat the death out of me. And at the very tail end, they didn't say nothing about how to finish it after it was done with. So at the very tail end, he was standing up and enjoying himself. So he got close to the ropes, and I drop kicked him. But Danny Fargo, first time he ever got in the ring, as far as I recall, he refereed a match I wrestled in.
Nice.
And I didn't think anything of it at the time. Then later on with Larry Bolin, all of a sudden I got this tag team wrestler. And it says, tonight you're going to go out and, you're not going to be this character. You're not going to be, I want the character of Baby Intern. Okay. Bad guy. And you're going to go out with a guy called Red Devil. Okay. I go in the dressing room. I see Red Devil all dressed up. He takes off his mask and I'm go, referee. yeah, I remember you. Yeah, you're my tag team partner.
Oh, Danny Fargo.
Who we working? Oh, we're working Eric Embry and this other guy's name, and it says, well, who's the other guy? Oh, it's Eric Embry's boyhood friend. And back in high school, they started wrestling as a tag team. The Masked Americans with a mask on, red, white, and blue, everything, and a mask. And we went around town after town after town, Baby Intern and Red Devil against the Masked Americans, until finally in Owensboro we had a loser has to lose his hood match.
Yeah.
And then that's when Eric Embry and his friend lost their hoods. And Eric Embry, well, from the Masked Americans, they became the Unmasked Americans. Okay.
That's original.
Okay, Unmasked Americans. And Danny Fargo started going off and doing his thing with them, and I was split off doing individual matches, and then that's when they changed me from Baby Intern to letting me use the name of BDB, Bad Dill Bass.
Hell yeah.
So
like
that's when I started doing that. Well, Danny Fargo was also working Georgetown, Kentucky, because he lived in Nicholasville. And I think when I first started, I was in the Radcliffe, Fort Knox area. So Danny Fargo, Haas, I had moved to Lexington, and he had said that thing about, why don't you come up to Georgetown? What's in Georgetown? Went up to Georgetown. There was a promoter out of La Follette, Tennessee,
Yeah.
called Bobby Steele. And Bobby Steele, making sure I got these names right, Bobby Steele was running shows, bringing wrestlers up from Tennessee and southern Kentucky, and they were running Georgetown. But he ended up leaving, and in comes Bulldog Cliff Lilly, and he's
Hell yeah.
from Carrollton, Kentucky. And somehow he was associated with the Sheik coming out of Detroit. And he also was associated with the Currys, Fred and Bull Curry, coming out of Columbus, Ohio. So I ended up hooking up with him, and through him, through Danny Fargo, he actually got me up into Cincinnati and up into Detroit. And thanks to Bulldog Cliff Lilly, I was able to meet the Currys, so I was able to go to Columbus, Ohio, where the Currys are at. Dale Mann opened the door for me to go over to Indianapolis. And all this was happening in my second year. I was still green as grass, and I was.
But you were getting the experience.
And even though I had the original Masked Marvel was the one that brought me in and trained me my first moves and stuff to do. So I learned like 5% of what I needed to know from him. And then when I went to work for Dale Mann took over and just started showing me all the rest. Because as a referee, you need to know what you're doing in the ring. And at my size, I was looked at more as a referee. So that means I'm in the ring, I'm watching, I'm learning how to referee, but I'm seeing all these moves and everything. I'm executing them all. And they said, you need to learn all this too, so you can understand what's happening in the ring. You need to learn when these guys are doing things, what they're doing, so you'll know when to be standing over here, not over there.
Good teaching.
When they go to do some move, you don't want to have them tell you ahead of time, get out of the way. You want to figure out ahead of time what they're getting ready to do, so that you will make sure you're out of that area. You're over at a safe place, but ready to go down for the quick 1, 2, 3, or, and I've been telling referees for years that I was trained, when you're a referee and you go to do a match and you go down to do a count, you don't just go down and go. You got to go down there and loud enough for the wrestler to hear. You got to go down there and go 1 and 2 and 3. You got to give it in the same cadence.
Exactly.
And you say it loud enough for them to hear you go 1 and 2 and so they're going to know when that 3 comes. So you've been warned 2 and.
And if the person don't kick out, then that's on them.
Yep.
The finish will be as it was made.
Well, we've had some times. I don't know if it was mentioned here on the radio, here on the podcast before.
Right. Yeah.
Because Bobby Blade was part of it once. Did you ever hear us ever say anything about a match that happened up in Indiana?
I
With
think that we
somebody
have.
that didn't kick out?
Yes, I think that we have.
I wonder if it's safe to say that guy's name again, because, no doubt he doesn't want it really out
The
there.
person should have known to kick out, though.
Yeah.
I mean, when the referee is telling you and he's making
If
it
you know
loud
what
and
the
clear
finish
for you.
is, and then
Yeah, and it happened, and he came up just because they were supposed to go over. And I think it was Rated X that pinned him.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was like 1 and 2 and his shoulder was still down. The referee went 3, ring the bell. And
Ding,
then
ding,
you
ding.
Then you saw him, the guy that just got pinned, come up like stunned. He was stunned.
It's his fault, though. He should have known. You got to kick out if you don't.
And he's yelling at me because I'm way over and I'm running the announcing and the music and, I'm doing all that part, ringing the bell, taking the time. He's yelling at me like it's my fault. His shoulder was down for 3, and I tell the referees, you go down there, 1 and a 2 and a 3. You let them know the cadence so they know when to get their shoulder up.
Yeah.
And promoters have told referees ahead of time, you don't go up there and go 1, 2. You don't do that big hesitation. It makes the referee look stupid.
it really does.
And
I did
makes
that,
it-
and then I admit I looked stupid when I did it during our match.
You got for the young guys coming in, I've told them, remember, the match is only going to be as good as the worst person in the ring.
Yes.
And you don't want the referee to be recognized as being the worst person in the ring.
You really don't, because
The
referee is important.
They need to stay out of the way, but be there when the time comes to do what a referee is supposed to do. And if a referee messes it up, and a mess up is like going 1, 2, and the crowd is sitting there going, why didn't he hit 3? You know, like, that's a mess up. That's the referee's fault. He shouldn't have did that. If the guy should have had his shoulder up. And then it's the guy's fault. But, I've told them all forever. And it was told to me, I'm not sure if it was Luthez told it to me or if it was Dale Mann told it to me, but the match is only going to be as good as the worst guy out there.
That's right.
And no matter how good you are, if you go out there and you're out there with a guy that can't really wrestle and you're selling things for him, like if he comes up, let's say, if he comes up and gives you a slap like this,
Yeah.
if he gives you a slap that hard, do you sell it or not? Then it's quickly in your mind, did the crowd see that or did the crowd see?
It needs to be that, because that's the only time you can sell. If you sell
Yep.
a weak shot that they couldn't see, that makes you look stupid because now you're being a goof.
Bingo! Exactly.
And a lot of times the wrestlers don't understand is that you need to make sure that if you're going to be attacked, you need to be on point with your selling, because if that selling is a weak shot, don't sell it like you've been shot with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Just sell it like you're going to stare at the guy like, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
You don't sell it like that weak shot was putting you inside coma. You sell it like it's just a weak shot. Like you just like,
Brush it
whoa,
off.
bro, what you do?
Yeah. Well, that's why the better of the two guys, in order to elevate the other guy, you got to recognize when he's doing bad stuff. Cut him off.
Yep.
If he does something that's good, then you go along with it and you sell it. But if he starts doing something bad, quickly grab a hold of him and
Ad lib. It's time to,
No.
if it's not working, turn it around. Do
Yes.
something that will work.
yes. And if you want him to have more offense, do something, quickly stop it, take him aside, and let him start something else.
Exactly.
But if he can't do it convincingly enough,
then you got to be the one that takes over.
because otherwise you're going to allow this guy to make you look bad.
Exactly.
And you don't
That
want to look
will
bad
I
in a
am.
business. You
That
just don't
will
want to look
I
bad.
am.
And there have been a lot of people in the business I have seen, and I know I'll never say it out so everybody can know, but I can come up with at least 5 people that I've seen over my years that should have never got in the ring because they're so pitiful, they're so bad. You know, like, I don't know if they've ever won a match in their life, but you know, as soon as you
Do
see
you
them,
support Joe Lucas for president? That's what Nick Hines wants to know.
anyway,
We're not getting into politics, Nick. Sorry,
Joe
buddy.
Lucas,
Joe
his
Lucas.
name has popped up.
No, Skullface Records, a.k.a. Nick Himes.
Oh, I see that. Is that it?
Yep,
And Bentley, how are you? Bentley Fultz.
that's right, Bentley.
It's fine, Nick, man. We understand. COVID sucks, brother.
That's right.
Joe Lucas. When was that? Was that BBW days? Or was that even before? Oh, I know that name. He's out of Paris.
Yeah, he is.
And
Sounds familiar.
I'm just trying to remember what wrestling organization was going on when Joe Lucas was around us. I keep feeling like it's BBW, but I'm not sure. Bad to the bone. And we had some monsters on ours.
I heard.
Yep. Ox Harley.
Yes.
Bull,
That's a good name.
Bull Pain.
I remember.
Crusher Bones.
Crusher Bones, R.I.P.
We had some.
He said bad to the bone wrestling. He was
And
from BB-Dub.
We had a guy called Manslaughter. And when he first started, he was a superstar. He was great. Big, huge wrestling mask, butcher's apron with blood all over it, chainsaw gimmick,
Yeah.
and he would come out and people would scatter. And he was, I'm guessing, 6'4".
That's a
maybe
big
6.
guy.
He's a big guy. And he was well over 300. And but just that wrestling mask he had on was really ugly, and he was a heel, and he was great. And then as time went on, don't know what happened, he decided, don't need this mask no more. And he got rid of the mask, and I think from that point there, his career
Yeah,
was
because he literally got rid of the thing that made him him.
Yeah,
Because the fans was not going to gravitate to the guy
had it
without
all
it.
together. The chainsaw, the butcher's apron, the mask, this, that. All these things. But he could have lost maybe one thing, but not the mask.
The mask was what made his gimmick.
Oh,
Taking it away made him just another guy on the roster.
I mean, he was right up there along with Ox Harley and Bull Payne, and, Todd Morton, and Todd was quite an item.
Good names because
And
all those
Vic
guys.
the Bruiser. I forgot Vic.
The Bruiser, man.
You can't forget the man that can chop as good as Tuffy can chop.
I know they had a match once, and it was a chop off. Good Lord.
Oh, Tuffy would be good to bring him back and let him just have a series of go to different promotions. Say, okay, who's your big chop man here? Come on, let's get out here. Let's take our shirts off. Let's see.
I can see that. I want to see that right now. Tuffy versus Cash Flow on the chop shop.
Oh, that was the other name. I
Cash
kept
Flow.
thinking there's somebody else that I'm forgetting. Cash
And
Flow.
speaking of which, Cash Flow is now on Tulsa King with Sylvester Stallone.
He is.
Yeah, he's making great progress.
Season 3.
Season 3. He's now a permanent character on the show.
He is.
Yeah.
I've never seen the show.
Wow.
You should check it out, brother.
Probably will now since I know he's on it.
It's on the Paramount Plus app, or I think there's Paramount Plus channel.
Yeah, I've got Paramount at home. What is the name of the show?
Tulsa King.
Tulsa. Like
Tul-
Tulsa, Oklahoma?
Yes, sir.
And he appears in Season 2 and
He appears
will
in
start
season-
showing up in Season 3.
Yes, sir.
What is he, a gangster?
Basically a
Sylvester
bodyguard.
Stallone's
Bodyguard?
character plays a gangster. He got out of prison, this, that, and the other. Cash Flow is pretty much a bodyguard of sorts.
But he plays a role. He speaks from time to time.
Oh, he speaks, yeah.
He does.
Yeah.
You would like it.
Do you remember a wrestler called Ben Woods?
Oh, my God. Sounds so familiar.
The Prophet. He went out as an Indian, and he was called the Prophet. And when he went out, he had this blonde girl with him as kind of like his maiden, but she came out in a cowboy outfit, a little skimpy.
Yeah.
That was Jessie Belle Smothers.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes.
I know Jesse Bell.
And I've known her since when she first showed up and started doing that. And that when she started doing that, that was for USWF Rated X.
Yep.
And, well, the Prophet, with all the dreadlocks and everything he had, did you know what he did after he left the wrestling business?
I don't.
Did you know?
What's that?
He became an actor.
Nice.
I think it's called NCIS. And they had one that said about New Orleans.
NCIS, New Orleans, yes, sir.
He was on that show.
Oh, wow.
He was in maybe half a dozen other movies, guest starring in his movies. He didn't have a role where we actually talked, but
But he
because
was-
how big he was and like that, and he looked pretty, you
Right.
put him a suit on him, and he looked really great.
Oh, wow.
And he just had these little bit roles here and there, and I know he did some things for Sylvester Stallone.
Oh, wow.
Some of the movies that he was in, he was there. I'm remembering something about a riot scene, and all of a sudden, standing right there in the front of the riot scene was Ben.
Yep.
The big muscles and everything he has. Yeah, he's...
If I can remember what he looked like, I'd know the episode. I've watched all the NCIS episodes. And
I'm not sure what season it was, but he was in there for a while.
Wow.
And
Right.
I don't know what he's doing today. I don't know if he's still trying to be an actor or not.
What's the name?
Ben Woods.
It sounds
Benjamin
so familiar.
Woods.
Benjamin Woods.
That's a good name, Benjamin Woods.
Gentlemen, I'm about to fall asleep. I've had a long day. I am going to cut out early. Mr. Bass, I do apologize.
That is all right, brother.
I do apologize because I love sitting under your learning tree. Every time I see you, it's always a pleasure. It's on my end, 100%, sir.
Is it a white man?
Hmm?
Is it a white man?
Is he a white
Ben?
man?
Yeah. Yep. No, that can't be him. No, that's not Ben.
It's probably someone else that has the same name. That's right, brother.
Everybody stay nice.
That's right.
Even though I shouldn't hug you because you splashed me in the face with pizza.
I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, whatever.
She did what?
I didn't do
We
anything wrong.
did an
Don't
angle
listen.
last
I'm
night.
an angel.
See, I can hear her
I'm
because
an
of this, so
angel.
she's out drowning you.
She,
Good.
She took a slice of pizza and got me across the face with it last night.
With a slice of pizza, she slapped you in the face?
I had it coming. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Accusing me of stuff all night. Whatever.
I wasn't accusing nothing. I was just making a good point.
No.
They did.
A good point. Slap.
That's right. The
She
pizza
tried
was.
to do a, what's it called, a peace offering, and I thought it was good. I said, hey, I'm not one to turn down food. Then she said, I'm going to let Sean get the first piece of pizza first. I'm like, oh.
Oh, yeah. Here you go. Okay,
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Is that what
happened.
she did with the first slice? Slap.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what happened. Said, and then after the
I'm an
after
angel.
after the show went off the air, bullshit. She goes,
I am an angel.
bon appetit.
I mean, she was an angel. She could have hit you harder than that.
I'm innocent. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. It's getting deep in there.
Well,
Y'all
I
take
had
care.
something flash up in my mind to bring up, which I don't think anybody's ever really talked about.
Yeah.
For years, wrestling promotions tried to do odd things to make crowds want to come and watch. And years ago, we had, which by today's standards are nothing, but years ago we used to have the thing, like the chain match where you take a chain and wrap it around your wrist and lock it in, and you have it like 6 foot length and you're hooked to the next guy, or 10 foot length. You remember those kind of matches?
Yep.
Okay. Earlier this afternoon, I had someone at my house, and I was showing her my video collection I have and some other old stuff I have, and then I turned and looked on the wall, and I saw something which I'm going to tell you about, but then I saw on the floor was my chains, and I have 2, I guess they're 8 foot long chains with the connections, and you take and you put them around your wrists.
Yeah.
So years ago when we were doing BBW, we had several things we do, certain gimmick matches, and one was the old chain match, hook them at the wrist, and then the guys beat each other with
It's
chains.
similar to the strap matches.
And we were using chains. Then, still getting away from the one that drew my attention first, we used to do back in Georgetown in Dale Mann's days, blindfold battle royals. Have you ever seen one of them?
Yes.
Pillowcases that are solid black that you pull down over your head, and they come down to about here.
Yep.
And then, ring the bell, and everybody's out there doing like, okay. There's always one, well, I'm sitting there thinking, should I say this or not? Well, there's always one pillowcase. When you're handing them out, when you're handing the pillowcase out, there's always one pillowcase that's doubled. So it's black. Everybody else has pillowcase that you can kind of see through, like a very heavy sunglasses, but you can still make out what's going on, you can see where people are at. So the guys are all told, you go out there, remember, you don't see nobody.
Yeah.
But there's one guy who always gets that one that's really blackened in. Nobody knows who it is, but when you got it, you're the one. So, you're really out there creeping up. Blindfold.
Pretty much you basically got one guy at a disadvantage because he doesn't realize that he's been given the only pillowcase out there that has obscured his vision, while everyone else could practically almost see everyone else, but he can't see nothing.
Everybody in back understands about blindfold battle royals, except for the new guy. the one that's just making his way up.
Yep.
You give him the one that's, and you know, everybody goes, yeah, you can't see nothing out of these. And you give the new guy the one that you can't see out of. And you put him out there in that blindfold battle royal, and everybody, when it basically hits, you get him to the center of the ring, you start, and everybody kind of goes to the edge to find the ring ropes, and they all start. You leave the guy that can't really see out in the middle of the ring.
Yeah.
So while he's out there facing this way, you would step on out and touch him, throw a punch at him, get back away. He'd turn, he'd go this way. Somebody else would come up behind him. You know, we do that. Today, while I'm showing this one lady my video collection, I happen to glance up on the wall, and I have 2 white shopping bags sitting up on the wall, and I look at them and go, oh, geez, I haven't seen them in years. They've been sitting there behind the door, because when my door is open, you can't see them. I shut the door to keep my Maine Coon from coming into the room.
Yeah.
I don't want her in there.
Beautiful cat.
Oh, I got a gray smoke. I named her after my wife, Vicki Lee. And she is 7 months old, and she's 8 pounds. So, you know, her mother is 30 pounds. Her father is 35. When you see the pictures of the Maine Coons, when people are holding them up like this.
They're huge.
That's what I want.
Adorable.
I want a cat like that.
I have a Pyrenees. It's off topic, but I have a Great Pyrenees Australian Shepherd puppy mix right now. She's 36 pounds.
How old?
4 months.
4 months?
Yes.
Are you sure that's a dog, or you got a little bear?
I think I have a mini bear.
Sounds like you don't have a dog at home. You got some other creature.
Yeah, they expect her to be 100 pounds.
You got a saddle for her?
Well,
You know, you will by the time you're done.
she's going to end up being a service
Can I have a
animal.
ride?
She's going to end up being a service animal. So, yeah, kind
Yeah, you're
of.
going to have a leash on her, and all of a sudden, you know, there's a green light, and you're supposed to walk, and, you know, you stand there, and she's going, and you
Yes.
take off.
And you won't be able to stop it because she's bigger than you.
Well, I looked up on the wall, and I saw these 2 bags that I hadn't really noticed for years, and my thoughts went to Bobby Blade.
Nice.
Because one of these bags pertained to him. Years ago, we had a match on a weekly show where whoever loses it has got to wear this big, ugly dress.
Woo!
I mean, ugly. Fugly dress. Big with flowers and all sorts of... Whoever loses got to wear that dress. And you wear that dress at every show, no matter where you go. Every show until you come back to that town and you win a match. So when you win that match, you get to take the dress off.
Yeah.
Bobby Blade, go around. Next week, lose a match. Have to keep wearing it. Next week, lose a match. Have to keep wearing it. Next week, finally he wins. He gets to take the dress off. I have 2 ugly dresses sitting in these bags, and my first thought is, oh, I got to have a talk with JR. You know, but then we don't want to do that unless here we're doing a monthly show.
Yeah.
And we're working on tournaments, so this kind of wouldn't be appropriate to even bring it up.
It wouldn't.
But, you know, months on down the road, after our champions are all decided, you know, maybe we have a match. You know, somebody gets in there, somebody blah, 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 blah. An ugly dress. You know, I got a special stipulation. You won't find it out until next time. And then when next time it shows up, you pull up this ugly dress before the match and say, whoever wins this, fine. Whoever loses this, got to wear this ugly dress.
That's right. And also, it could happen after the tournament. I mean, when there's no tournament going on, you can have someone fight the other guy, and whoever's losing, they're going to be wearing that dress for a long time, because if they're going to be wearing it, they're going to be losing matches. And when they do, then maybe they can take it off.
Bobby Blade had to wear one of those ugly dresses.
Oh, poor Bobby.
I know he lost for at least a couple shows in a row. Is he even watching? Did he mention anything? And I wonder if he knows that, you know, we're on and we're talking about him.
Bobby usually is on, but I also know that he's dealing with what happened with the dentist removing his teeth and all that.
When the show was done with on Sunday,
Yeah.
And we were all packing up and everything. I went to him and I said, what are your plans? What are you going to do? And he told me that they were taking off in Frankfurt, going to Kentucky Inn. Are you familiar with that place?
Yes.
Pizza, salad, a buffet, spaghetti. And I hadn't been there in a time. So I said, well, when I get caught up here, I'll join you. So we sat down and we were talking about all sorts of things. Why did I just have a memory gap all of a sudden hit me? Why did I bring that up about Bobby Blade? Well, Bobby Blade was one of them that lost to Loser Leave.
Yeah.
A Loser Wears an Ugly Dress. He had to wear that thing for several shows. Oh, it was so great. His music would play, and it was a full-length dress going all the way down to the floor, and it was one of the ugliest.
He was a heel at the time.
I went to the Salvation Army, and I started looking for the biggest, like size 24.
Yeah.
And the ugliest dress I could find.
And you just know that Bobby Blade hated wearing that thing.
Of course, we talked to him ahead of time. It was a severely ugly dress. So I popped it open. The first time I probably looked at it in 15 years. I'm going to be mentioning it to J.R. Rock. I don't know who's going to be wearing it, but on down the road, if I can, somebody's going to be wearing it.
All that has to happen is when it's no tournament involved.
In BBW, I'd have the chain, the big long 8-foot, 10-foot long chain. We'd hook them at the wrist.
Yeah.
And, that was one match. We had scaffold matches. We did one in Cynthiana that was, I guess the scaffold was about 20 foot above the ring. And that was a great match. I think Madman Pondo was in it. I think Todd Morton was in it. Maybe that's who the two were. But, we had the ugly dress thing. I remember during the Dale Mann days, we did the blindfolded battle royals. They were quite a hoot. And I don't know what happened to the pillowcases. I used to have them, and then somehow they've just disappeared. But we would have odd matches like that. We'd advertise them, crowd would love them. You don't get the ones anymore that says, loser shit gets their head shaved.
Yeah.
And I remember we did one time with a guy that had long hair and a beard. It was like, loser gets shaved. So when the time came, he did his beard.
Oh, no.
Kept his hair. But we'd have specialty matches like that. We wouldn't have them every week because, it's just too much. It was like once a month you'd throw some real kicker out there. We're going to have some special stipulation next week. You will find out next week just before your match. And then, out comes the ugly dress. And you've got to wear it. No, I ain't going to, threaten to go
And
back
Bobby
to
Blade ended up being the guy that had to wear it.
Yeah.
And he had to wear it and wear it and wear it until he had to win a match.
Yeah.
The ultimate punishment.
And he lost for several weeks, I think. 2 weeks, 3 weeks. But he would go out there, and it would be against people he normally would beat.
Yeah.
And somehow, all of a sudden he got rolled up. What?
Hey, a roll-up can't be beat.
All of a sudden, 1, 2, 3. That was a fast count. Oh, the bout's over with. Sorry, you lost. You get to wear it again.
Yeah, it's fair and square.
And, we did things like that a long time ago. Fans loved it. Georgetown, during one time, we were drawing 600 people in that building. We filled every chair, and we had people standing up all on the walls. And then Fire Marshal put a limit, 600 people. So once we sold and had 600 people in there, once we got to that point, anybody else that came, we would tell them to go around to the big roll-up door off to the side. We'd roll the door up, and those people could stand outside and watch in for free. But we wouldn't open up that door unless we had 600 paid first. Once we hit 600, then the door would come open.
Yeah.
So if you're out there and you want to get in free, you want to watch the matches for free, and we're sitting at 550, then you don't get in.
Damn Skippy.
Yeah. When it hits 600, doors go up. When we were doing the masked intern thing a long time ago, and I was going out as baby intern when Ken Ramey couldn't make certain dates, couldn't go to certain places, and there was more than one group of masked interns out there too. So we had one thing with masked interns. They actually would show up to the show for their match, and they would be on down the road a mile away. They would show up in an ambulance. A long white ambulance, and it looked more like a hearse, but it was a long white ambulance, and they had the little red light on the top, and they would show on up. We'd open up the bay door. The ambulance would drive on in far enough for them to get out, masked interns, and we'd all head to the ring. Back the car on out. Those were some of the good old days.
Back when wrestling tried its best to make sure even those that knew about the insides believed it.
Before wrestling was on TV 6 days a week. It might be on 7 days a week for all I know now.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere you turn, it's Monday night this, Tuesday night that, it's Wednesday, it's Thursday, it's Friday, Saturday.
It can get tired.
Specials on Sunday and pay-per-views. When I was talking with JR about Kentucky Wrestling Federation, the idea first hit, he had 25 in, he was thinking about being a wrestling promoter.
Yeah.
And I had 50, and he talked to me because I had been one off and on for so many years and done things. So he was telling me, well, I said, JR, first of all, nobody runs Sundays.
Yeah.
Appalachian does occasionally. But nobody basically runs Sundays. So over in the Frankfurt area, if nobody is running, we have access to all the wrestlers that wrestle for here and wrestle for there and wrestle up in Indiana and wrestle in Ohio. We should have no problem actually putting some bodies out there. And
Sundays are perfect.
That's why we decided on Sundays. And in Georgetown, our Sunday shows were like 7 o'clock, I believe, because our shows were finishing like 9:30 at night. They were 2.5 hour shows, so we were starting at 7. But there was a lot of people that you could see them leave in the semi-main event, like, where are you going? So, I got to take the kids home. She's got school tomorrow. And so we thought, well, if we make the show at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, that allows you the opportunity to be able to come to the show, finish the show, go home, have plenty of time to get rested up and ready to go to school or go to work.
That's right.
And it also allows for the wrestlers time to, show ends at 8:30. Basically, if a show ended at 8:30, you have plenty of time to get home by 10:30 at the latest.
Exactly, because they have no excuse not to go, because you're getting an early time, and the show's going to end at a reasonable time. There's no excuse not to go on a Sunday.
Yeah. Because
you got a 4 p.m. start time and 8 or so p.m. end time.
Well,
and sometimes it won't even end at 8.
4, we should be done around 6.
That's right.
And that's plenty of time.
That's right, because that's what happened with Sunday. Ended around 6 often.
Now, what is this I heard about? I think you and Andy had a match against each other down in Tennessee.
We did.
What is this? How did that come about? Why?
Well,
and who won?
Well, to take you that, we have to go to the very beginning of 2024. Oh, goodness. Andy got a little too big for his britches. He basically made a contract that took this from me.
What, the hat and jacket?
He took my gimmick. He took everything from me, even my knee Lee.
He was looking like you?
No, he took everything from me. I was left as just John, poor man John. And he was mocking me. He had his lawyer, Mr. Sterling Funwell, taking all my stuff by writing up a contract that said that he now owned the trademarks to my stuff. He took me into a van, the NiceGuyAndy podcast van, by the way. Then he had everyone else beating up on me. He had me using a toothbrush to scrub the toilets. But here's the thing. He's doing all this to antagonize me, and then wants to cry about me hitting him with the double knees during our match.
Didn't he also do something with your mom?
He did.
Do what?
He took her on a date. He took
your
my
mother
mom.
on it?
Yeah, he took my mom on a date, and he had the guys like Spandito and all of them making sure that they were not gonna be good to me. I had nobody inside my corner. It was just me against Andy and a bunch of his goons. When we got to that match,
He took your mother on a date?
he did. And now you can see why I hit him with the double knees. We did not plan this spot, by the way. This
This
spot,
is down in Tennessee, I heard.
it was Salina, Tennessee, June 5th, 2024. It's for the UCW and Triple Crown Wrestling show.
UCW Terry England?
Yeah.
So this was his show down in Tennessee?
Yep. And he had the balls. He said, inside the back, he said, who else would have the balls to book podcaster versus podcaster? The whole premise of the match was that I was fighting to get my name back, to get my stuff back, to get everything that was Superfly John Lee back. That was the entire point of the match. And we came up with a spot that got over. We came up with a plunger spot. It's going to involve Andy getting hit. He goes into another corner. I got the plunger for him because Jane gives it to him. He comes to try to plunge. Yeah.
A toilet plunger?
Yeah. It involves Sean getting his eyes poked. He's looking away. Andy gets the plunger hand to him. He runs at me to plunge my face. And instead, I end up countering, taking the plunger, hit him. He goes into another corner. Now I run up and I start plunging his face while the referee's still distracted. And then I threw the plunger out and basically hit him with the earthquake splash. But that does not get the win. What got the win was the podcast elbow because I threw him into a corner, clotheslined him, and then after he fell, I got up against the ropes, go off the ropes, and I hit him like
Elbow
that.
drop.
Yep, with the one that involves this.
Yep.
Not like the one that I hit Cam with at Sunday, because with the one that I hit Cam with was like a Bobby Blade stiff one. Because Bobby Blade used to do it all the time to his opponents, and they still say that was the hardest shit that they've taken in wrestling. And he says, I never hurt nobody. I was gentle as a fly. But it was a match that was about two best friends going at it. And I don't know why one best friend turned on the other best friend. All I know is that he tried to say that I let AJ Alexander in to beat up on the champion that was holding that.
Well, I'm coming here. J.R. Rock's coming here. We're seeing you here all the time. We don't see him.
That's true.
What, he doesn't come when you're here?
Apparently not, because he keeps on saying that I gave him a concussion, but concussions don't last that long. They only last a couple of months. And it's been like maybe 10,
So
11 months.
Does he do any podcasts at all?
Yeah.
He does.
So when he does them, are you there?
Yes.
So how's he act with you?
He acts the same as he did before he did all that to me.
Cocky as everything?
Yes.
Is he still dating your mother?
No. But he still brings up the 69 thing.
The what?
He did a joke where he said, your mom's favorite number is 69. He still brings that up. But here's the thing. I hit him with the double knees, and he's still remembering that. He knows not to step over his bounds no more. In wrestling, you know this. You don't just plan something. It happens.
I was thinking if me and JR are here, is there a way to get him here at the same time with you?
Who, Andy?
Yeah.
There he is.
Then get us all together and let us have some little fun with him.
That's true.
I mean, I've known Terry England for years, long time, and he never mentioned anything to me about anything taking place down in Tennessee, but he knows I don't have anything to do with Tennessee anymore. Like, hey, Terry, you go down, do your thing. I only handle the Kentucky area. So he never told me nothing about what was going on down there.
That's right. I mean, it was crazy because it happened last year.
How many people showed?
A ton. Even Andy's wife and them showed up and watched their old dad / husband take an elbow drop. Also get a plunger to the face. And they were cheering about it, which was weird.
they cheered?
Yes, they were actually cheering because I could hear them going crazy for a punch spot on their dad. But
They were enjoying the whole match, no matter who was doing what.
that's true.
Yeah.
They were because it's podcaster versus podcaster. It was me. I actually kind of hate the match because I wasn't me. I was some guy named John, just John. And he's a poor man.
How
and he
did
had
they announce you for that match? Did they announce you as just
Just John, formerly known as Superfly John Lee.
Okay, then when the match was done with, did that change it?
It did.
So from that point on, you were able to take your name back?
Yep. I came back out and I was wearing my gold sequin.
Did,
But as you can see, I've upgraded now.
did he have a different name when he went out?
He was still Nice Guy Andy.
And when it was all done with, he was still Nice Guy Andy.
Yes.
Loser.
And then he had the referee fired.
How much? Really?
He did. Sean Johns was our referee.
Okay.
He told Jane, you fire him. Even though Sean did it all fair and square. Although there at the end he did hesitate a little bit. He went 1, 2, 3. But I can forgive him because Sean hadn't been refereeing that long. Sean had dabbled in refereeing before this. But that night, Sean
you were pinning
was just
him,
that.
and it was 1, 2, 3.
Yes.
So you were pinning him, and there was a hesitation between
Yep.
2 and 3.
Because Sean thought that Andy was going to kick out. But he should have been watching because Andy's eyes were closed. In wrestling, when a pinfall is
That's why
done,
I tell these guys, I've been telling them forever, you get down there close enough and you say it loud enough for the wrestlers to hear. The wrestler is getting pinned to hear. 1 and 2 and so he can see when the 3 is going to come.
exactly. But also, when the guy's eyes are closed, you're supposed to count to 3 because that's playing. If their eyes are open and they're looking not at you,
Well-
but they're looking up like this, then you know not to count to 3.
Well, you can still kick out,
That's true too.
but
But that was the plan finish.
referees should always have that steady count to make them look like a good referee. You don't want the referee to look dumb.
That's
Because then he
right.
looks crooked, and the crowd will then hate him no matter what he does for who knows how long.
In Sean's defense, it was his first time back inside a refereeing game that night. So him hesitating was because he'd been listening to what we had playing the previous week when Adrian Sander was putting together how we should have ended the match. But then when we got there, we changed around the finish. If he had been paying attention, the finish just came naturally because we did not plan it. That whole
Sean
podcast
hardly
elbow.
pays attention to anything.
That's true.
You guys put way too much faith in that man sometimes.
And that referee,
Yeah. We put way too much faith in him, and sometimes he does not listen. And that ended up showing because after I watched the match back and I'm seeing them go 1, 2, I'm like, Sean, man, brother, the whole finish is supposed to be me getting my gimmick back, and you're over here 1, 2, and that makes you look bad.
like he's an Andy man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I will say that at the beginning of it, though, Andy was trying to bribe him. He was like, Sean, you got to pull the win for me. And that was not the point of the match. The match was supposed to be, I get my stuff back. I become this again. Because being just John was hell.
Is he wanting to ever pick up and redo this again?
I mean, we could, but I don't want to lose this no more.
So Andy is not talking about having a rematch?
Not that I know of. But there are always rematches abounds that we talk about.
I was just thinking, you can't do it in Kentucky unless you have a license.
That's
So
true.
you'd have to do it down in Tennessee or up to Indiana.
That is true. Plus, the line of Tennessee is where we had our match. And we did things that a lot of people don't do. I mean, we did stick to the spots that we actually playing. I'm the one that told Jane to choke me on the rope. She did it. I'm the one that was making sure that Andy stayed to his spots, because there's a moment inside the match where he actually is standing across from me and he says, Johnny, I know what I'm supposed to do next, and I have to go.
Oh, he forgot?
Yeah, and that's when I improvised, just punching him. I just ran over to him, start punching him up in there, and threw him into a corner, clothesline, elbow drop, because then I realized this man's already forgotten everything. And I could tell that at the beginning he had forgotten some of the things that we had actually planned, because a lot of what we did the Thursday before did not happen. We were supposed to do a spot where we're going up, crowd's cheering, I go back up, Andy attacks me from behind, then the bell rings to start the match. But that did not happen, because the referee pulls Andy over to the side, and Andy's no longer doing that, so I had to go over to my side, and we just start the match like that. So I had to improvise the entire beginning of the match. So I'm running at Andy because we didn't plan anything else at the beginning of that match.
Did
so
you have the referee with you when you and Andy were talking?
yes,
So he heard what it was supposed to be.
yep,
So even the referee knew the way it was supposed to go.
yep. And we were all getting shown this the Thursday before the match. And when we do get there to the match, I'm going up to my corner after Andy goes up theirs, and I turn around after I get down. I'm like, what's going on? And then I turn around and look at Andy and over there inside the corner getting checked by a referee. And I'm like, fuck. So then I just had to go over to my corner, otherwise I look stupid.
Yeah.
And then
You can't just stand there and wait and wait and wait.
yeah. So I had to stand over inside the opposite corner, watch Sean and Andy, and I'm just staring like, this is not how it's supposed to go. So then I have to run at Andy because we ain't planned what's supposed to happen. Although I started out the match running at him, we did get in the spots that we did plan. And that would involve the suplex spot, where attempted suplex. We also involved me being choked on the rope twice, because Andy chokes me on the rope once, and then Jane grabs me when the referee's distracted by Andy. We also got in the plunger spot, which was a new addition to the spot that we planned, because we did talk about that when we got to the show.
How long does this match go?
It went about 8 minutes. So we had
You guys kept busy.
we had the entrance. I cut short though, but everyone agreed that my song was better than Andy's,
What did he
because
do?
his song was more or less just a copy of a popular band that he liked. My song was more of an original piece. So it had our names in at the beginning. It says Podcast God Johnny Lee, and his says NiceGuyAndy, but his is by two old guys that can rap, but it's inside instrumental. It was a hilarious affair though, because I did get my drip back, but Andy still used the excuse that he got concussed, which is why he's not here.
Well, did you happen to hear who the wrestlers are that are planned for that Louisville show?
Yes, I have heard. Actually, I got the full card here. Hold up.
Because this is what I've got, what JR gave me over the phone earlier. And he was just telling me off the top of his head. He had it written down, but he was just calling me while he was driving and telling me what he had.
Heck yeah, because I got the card right here that shows us.
Does it show match for match?
Yep.
Oh, it
there.
does.
Yep, it is. Max Steel, who you know,
Versus,
Jacob Ratliff,
okay.
Cyrus Riley versus Cass Jackson.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, didn't have that name on there. Okay. Cyrus versus Cash. Okay.
Yep. Charles Colton versus Kevo Tribes. And of course, you know the main event. The main event has to be Omega versus Ethan Hire.
His name wasn't on there either.
It's a big one though. Omega versus Ethan Hire versus OG Ugly versus Zodiac.
1, 2.
That's 4 big matches.
Where does Nick Himes come in? Does he's a wrestler?
No, Nick Himes is the guy to help put this together with J.R. Rock. He asked J.R. Rock, hey,
So is
brother.
he like a promoter?
Basically, he's also a radio DJ.
I thought he was a wrestler to hear when
He's like he has dabbled in managing.
So he's not really a wrestler.
Not really, but he is a manager type.
Max Steele and Jacob. Charles Colton and Kivo Thrives. Zodiac, Ethan Heyer, OG Ugly, and Omega. Cyrus versus Cass Jackson. 1, 2, 3, 4 matches.
That's right. 4 big, huge
Well,
matches.
Then if Nick Himes is not a wrestler, either he's planning on announcing the show or J.R. Rock is planning on me announcing the show. I have music for everyone here. Yep, I have music for everyone that's on the card.
That's right.
He was just telling me off the top of his head the names, and he just didn't say Cass Jackson or Omega. But he said to me that he also believed he forgot a name or two when he was telling me that.
Facts. But you got all the names now. All 4 matches. The main event is definitely that Fatal 4-Way.
Now,
That's going to be huge.
Who sent you the list?
It was Nick Himes. He actually sent me the actual
Okay.
flyer.
Do you think you've seen the flyer then?
Yep.
So does the flyer advertise the matches?
Yes, it does.
Okay. If the flyer advertises the matches, then these are what the matches
I can
will
send
be.
you the flyer right here.
Yeah.
Hold up.
You
Get
can,
it.
You can go ahead and send it to me.
That way that you'll have it. Because I remember that Nick Himes sent me before that time, and then I kept it secret for months now. So here it comes, brother. And now you got it.
Come on.
It's coming.
Did you send text or Facebook?
Facebook.
Oh, well, then I won't be able to see that until I go home.
I'll send it to your text then.
Okay.
Let's do it. This way you'll have it.
When I get it on text, I'm able to then keep the picture.
Heck yeah.
No doubt the poster also gives the actual address. And that'll help me when I go to do the Google.
That's right. Let me get it. And then I'll send it to you, the text, and then you'll have it. Got it. Now, to send it. All right, Dale, get ready because it's coming right to you.
Well, I know when I talked to JR on the telephone earlier tonight, he was actually going out and checking on locations and stuff. He was busy.
Nice.
And he was telling me that you all would have the address, the date, all like this for the show.
That's right, and it's on the flyer. And I just sent it to you in Messenger.
There we go. Open it up. Oh, yeah, I remember seeing that now. I have had it.
And it's also got the address and everything for you.
Are you familiar with any of these bands?
Yes, I am actually. Slow Kill, damn good band.
Were they the one that... Were they over at Paris?
Actually, yeah. Yes, they was. The bands are Slow Kill, Saints Asylum, I'm just now getting familiar with, Tripfall, Sinful Unrest, the band 55, the Psychotic Marbles is Nick Himes' band. It's a hell of a time, too. Also, October 18th, which is Saturday, it's going to be doors open, 2 p.m. Music starts 3 p.m. That's going to be Psychotic Marbles. That's going to start out.
Fern Valley Road.
Yep. Is the WWME Music Hall 5800 Fern Valley Road, Louisville, Kentucky. Wrestling starts at 6 to 8 p.m. So, to begin the show, it's going to be the Psychotic Marvels that's going to be playing first.
So the doors open at 2. 3 o'clock the music starts. 3 hours later, when wrestling starts from 6 to 8.
Yep.
So it sounds like a lot of the bands are going to be done before it becomes 6 o'clock.
That's right.
So it's like all the bands will finish within 3 hours, and then we come by for the last 2 hours of the show?
That's what it sounds like.
Omega, Ethan Hire, OG Ugly, and Zodiac. Phew.
That's going to be a hell of a main event.
I've seen Charles Colton and Kivo Thrives wrestle before for UCW down there at Caverna Super Show. Kivo can wrestle. Good.
Yes,
Kivo
Kivo can.
Good. He looks good. Cass Jackson versus Cyrus Riley. That's going to be a bruiser of a match. Max Steele versus Jacob Ratliff. Max better be ready. Jacob's going to be bringing it.
Damn, Skippy, because Jacob Ratliff is a hard hitter.
I mean, he's kind of underestimated. When you look at his size, his height, his body build, you sit there and,
Yeah.
But then he gets in there, and some of the things he does, wrestlers are not trained certain things. He's picked it up, and, I'm trying to think, what is it? Taekwondo? Judo? He's picked up stuff that he has taken to the wrestling ring. So if he wants to hurt you, he can grab a... Well, that's kind of in a way, that's the way Dale Mann trained people years ago. He trained shoot moves, stretching, and it's something they don't really do anymore. Maybe when you get up in the WWE, they teach you certain things, but it's stuff that you don't use in the wrestling ring.
That's right.
Jacob knows some of those things. So if he actually got into a real fight, tick him off, get him into a real fight. If he wanted to, he could pretty well end a match in 15 seconds.
That's right.
Put his hands on you, and next thing you know is you're not getting a wrestling move. You're getting some kind of a move that's going to hurt you and put you out.
But here's the thing also. Omega knows Muay Thai. And that's going to be a hell of a fight. And OG Ugly, he's no slouch either from what I've seen.
Well, he's going to have to step up his game. Ethan Hire, I'd hate to be him in this match.
Yeah, because he's the only one that does not have.
Just about everybody is double his size.
They are.
Zodiac, OG Ugly, they've got to be the two big guys. Omega is stout.
He's a stout man.
But Ethan, ooh, it's going to be a long night for Ethan. It's going to be a long, painful night for Ethan.
Yeah, because he's got Omega. He's got Zodiac, Jacob Ratliff, and OG Ugly. All three men are twice his size, and all three men are all about ripping and tearing the limbs off his body. I mean, but then, here's the thing. He's also got an advantage.
They all go out there. They want to wrestle. They want to do their thing. They want to look good. If tempers flared and somebody lost it out there, there's certain people on here you wouldn't want around you if they lose it.
He's also got an advantage, though. I mean, think about it. He's the smallest guy inside the match. He could easily outmaneuver them because they are big guys. They're all twice his size. And him being the only one that's 5'1" makes it easy for him to just slip through their legs.
5'1"?
Yeah. He's short. But that also gets an advantage because they're all well over 6 foot something. And he can easily outmaneuver them. Just because they're giants don't make them as invulnerable as they think.
There was that three-way match that happened this past Sunday.
Yep.
Do you remember in the three-way match, one certain guy ducked out of the ring and stayed out of there for so long at the very beginning?
Yep. Mike Howard.
Yep. And I was looking at, you look at that, and smart move, let these two guys beat each other up like that for a while. Come in and like he did, come in and try to get a quick pin here and a quick pin there, and it didn't work. He ended up having to work. And in this four-way, maybe Ethan Hire, play a little smart, slide out of the ring.
Yeah.
Maybe get a punch and slide out and sell that punch. But keep an eye on everything and let Omega, Ugly, and Zodiac beat the snot out of each other.
That's the smartest decision.
Come back in, do something for a minute, half a minute. Get out of the ring, wait. Get ready to climb to the top rope and do a dive on somebody. Try to hope the referee's there for a 1, 2, 3.
Damn Skippy.
Now, who would you pick between Max Steel and Jacob Ratliff?
I'd have to go with Jacob Ratliff. Even though I got Max Steel coming in next week, I just got to say, Max Steel may be a bigger guy. He may be larger than Jacob Ratliff, but Jacob Ratliff has something that he don't.
Experience, knowledge.
And also tenacity.
Yeah.
These are things that will help him out in this match because Max Steel, he may be a giant in his own right, but Jack Ratliff is no good, and Max Steel ain't no better.
Well, you got Cyrus Riley versus Cass Jackson. I've seen Cass Jackson for years. I've only seen Cyrus this past Sunday. Cyrus has got size.
Yes, he's about 6'7", it looks like.
He's a big boy.
And he gave Nate Hewitt quite the beating Sunday night. Nate Hewitt had to fight for his life because he was saying Kentucky sucks and everything, and he's finding it hard to keep this big man off his feet. And this big man was like, literally sidewalk slammed him. And Nate Hewitt is no slouch himself.
Well, I'd hate to pick Cyrus over Cash because I've only seen Cyrus once.
Yeah.
And I have seen Cash so many times. And he's no slouch. Cyrus can I'd say he very well can hold his own against Cyrus, but he better eat his Wheaties that day. Got Charles Colton versus Kevo Thrives. Colton with all the belts and everything, but you don't have to be the greatest wrestler to take a belt. You just got to be, at times, the smartest wrestler, being at the right place at the right time. And Charles Colton is probably walking around with at least 3 belts, as far as I know. Kevo might not have any belts, but I've only seen him work one time, and I liked him in the ring. He's impressive.
Exactly.
God, if I have to pick a winner, I'd like to pick Kevo.
I'd have to pick him too.
But Charles Colton, the way he wrestles.
Not to mention that they have prior history because Charles Colton cashed in on him at the Governor's Super Show.
Yeah. When I was in the ring announcing for that show, nobody told me about what Colton was going to do. No one told me he was going to come out and say anything, do anything. I didn't know. All of a sudden, some guy in a suit. I recognized Charles Colton looking like Charles Colton. And I looked at the guy in a suit and I said, who's he? He didn't look like Charles Colton. I know, who's this guy showing up?
Yeah.
And I didn't know who he was. And I guess the way he acted on the mic, the way he spoke on the mic, I guess he just took it for granted that
He's confident.
that everybody knew who he was. I didn't know who he was. And then somebody yelled, as soon as he left the ring and he left the ring, some fan behind me said, "Who is that?" And I heard somebody else go, "Charles Colton." And I was like, that was Charles Colton. And it went out all over everywhere. So that was Charles Colton? Oh. I wish they would have told me ahead of time that he was going to come out and say something. Well,
Exactly. But here's the thing. It was supposed to be a surprise because he was cashing in. And he said that he was leaving that night. But he did not leave. He waited for the perfect moment. He waited till Kevo Thrives took the title, and then that's when he struck. Because
Well,
Cable Drives decided that he was not going to.
whoever had the title, he was going to strike while the guy was
Yep.
weakest as he could be.
And the best thing about was that Cable Drives had just won the title. So he cashed in on the guy that just won it.
He looked good with the title belt. He looked good, and the fans really enjoyed seeing him get the win. Is that against Evil?
Yes. It was against, I think it was, no, it was against Randall Shane.
Was it Randall Shane?
Yeah, Cable Drives was taking on Randall Shane. Because I remember, because Gary Valiant gave a cutter to Randall Shane that allowed Cable Drives to pick up that win.
Yeah. Well, here we're talking about the match that's going to take place called Rage on the Stage, Saturday, October the 18th, Louisville, Kentucky. The WWME Music Hall at 5800 Fern Valley Road, Louisville, Kentucky. $10 is general admission price.
Which is a damn good
For
ticket
all
price.
this, 6 bands and 4 matches. The door is open at 2. Music starts at 3. 3 hours later, wrestling starts. So it sounds like you're going to get 6 bands within 3 hours. So you're going to hear plenty of music. So after 6 bands between 3 and 6, 6 o'clock, the bell's going to ring. Out comes 4 wrestling matches. And that's going to take place between 6 and 8. So your $10, get down in there between 2 and 3. You pay $10, and from 3 o'clock to 8 o'clock, 5 hours in a row at least, you're going to see 6 bands and 4 wrestling matches.
And that's also a pretty big fucking show.
Are you familiar with the building?
Actually, yes.
I
That is
never-
one of the best places in Louisville, Kentucky.
I have not the foggiest idea about this building. I'm going to have to do a Google thing in order just to find my way to Fern Valley Road. I was told the building was big. That was about all I was told. I don't know if J.R. Rock knows the building himself, but J.R. is the one that's been talking with Nick Himes. And I'm just getting info secondhanded.
True. But then again, Jerry Rock is the man that knows what he's up to.
Well, when JR and I were putting together Kentucky Wrestling Federation with his wife Jen.
Yeah.
When we were putting this together, we were like using his 25 years, my 50 years, knowledge that we had on how the business should be run, you know, all like that. The good things, the bad things, try to avoid the bad things. Trying to always do the good things. You know, getting on podcasts, getting on Channel 27, getting, you know, having Channel 56 run something that pushed us. You know, for that show this past Sunday, I put out 150 posters, just myself. And I know that JR was also out there putting up posters too. So we had a lot of posters out.
Yeah.
And we're going to be coming back on the first Sunday in October. And no doubt we're going to have posters going out again. And we'll probably do another 150 posters. So that'll be first round, but it'll be the second show. So the first show, first round, send out winners. Second show is going to have winners. And the third show is where we're going to take all the winners, put them together on one show, and start, well, as JR and I had thought, you know, he decides who the 8 people, which for actually this first show there was 9 people. He just, because we had a triple.
Yeah.
He said, here are the 9 people that we're going to have on the first show. And here are the 8 people that we have planned at this moment for the second show. And so that's 17 people that's already planned for this advertised 16-man tournament. That's why there was a triple. So whoever wins advances. And, you know, we tell the crowd on the first show we have 9 wrestlers, 2,
Yeah.
4, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 wrestlers, names in the hat. Pull out the names. Okay, here's the first match, this guy and that guy. Okay, here's the second match, this guy and that guy. Here's the third. You know,
And that's smart because that means that you're drawing names to choose what's going to be happening.
and let's say this list I got in front of me, which is the list for the Louisville show. If this was actually the list for the next show in October, if that was the list, you know, we would look at the crowds, say, okay, here's the guys that's going to be on it. Here's the pieces of paper. Here's their names. Throw the names into a hat. Are we ready? Okay, we're getting ready to start the show. Okay, here's the first match. This guy and this guy.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the second match? Okay, it's going to be this guy and it's going to be this guy. So when it comes to the third show, where everybody is going to get together to go for the belt, that's going to be the fun one. You know, because we'll start off with 8 wrestlers.
True.
8 wrestlers will be 4 matches. So we basically will have it already figured out, you know, the four matches. Okay, whoever wins these 4 matches, we're going to have it already lined up so we know the first match and the second match go against each other. The third and the fourth match, they're going to go against each other. Okay, now let's get, you know, we'll get the names down. First name, second name.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the third name and the fourth name. Okay, and we'll do it that way. And then we'll just see who advances.
And that's smart because what you're doing
Well, we're not
is
even
a system.
we're not even advertising the names because we're not sure. Let's say every name that's on this list in front of me, all of a sudden, the second guy on the list can't make it for whatever reason. Whatever, can't make it. Okay, then either we do a show without him, be short one person, or we quickly think, who can we bring in that would be quality enough to be part of the tournament? Well, see, we had, well, first thing comes to my mind, what we could do is, like we had the prospector, Wes Barker, defeat Frank the Tank.
Yeah.
Frank the Tank lost. He's out of the tournament. Somebody can't make it over here? Okay, let's bring Frank the Tank back and stick him back in the tournament. He lost, but, you know, we got some guy that backed on out for whatever the reason is. Put Frank the Tank name back in there. Trying to think. Snake Williams out of Louisville.
Yes, we've had him on the podcast
Oh,
before.
I love Snake. And I brought his name up to JR, and JR is aware of him. We have his telephone number and everything, but you know, certain wrestlers have got to be available for certain dates, or if they're not available, you know,
Hey, Alex Whipper.
wish in one hand, you know the story. So, but it's kind of left up to JR. He wants to be the one to find who we're going to have in these tournaments. He doesn't need to have me in his ear pestering away at him. You know, like, he's got his job that he does for the promotion. I got my job that I do for the promotion. So I try not to step on his toes. If he needs help, he knows all he has to do is ask. If I can help, fine. If he doesn't need my help, fine. I'm not going to stick my nose in and tell him how to do his job, and he's the booker. And when I talk to wrestlers, and I tell them about Kentucky Wrestling Federation, I also tell them all, like, I might be partners with him, but he's the booker. If you want to get on a show, if you want to get in, you got to call the booker. I am not the booker. You got to call J.R. Rock. He is the booker. And that's what I tell everybody. And, you know, that's the truth.
Damn Skippy. Because you and J.R. Rock are a well-oiled machine.
Well, we try to be. Sometimes well-oiled machines make a lot of noise, but, you know, we try to make things go smooth.
The last 4 shows that I've been to of KWS has been good.
We try to think what could go wrong and have our answer ready for, if something happens here, have our answer ready. If this problem here happens, what are we going to do? Have this answer ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
How you doing, Alex Ripper?
Alex Ripper's on.
Yep.
What does he have to say?
He said, "How y'all doing?"
I see his name now. Yo,
That's right. He's a good one.
Mary Elizabeth. Do I know Mary Elizabeth?
That is my mom.
That's not
But-
Johnny sending. That's not Andy sending that, is he?
No, that's my mom.
Is she speaking to you?
No, she ain't on now. That was a while back.
So she was actually. She
Yeah.
sent you that message.
She actually sent that. Yeah.
So she's listening now. Anyway.
And Alex Ripper sent it just now too. So did Andrew DeBrowning, which you would know because he is a big fan.
Who?
Andrew DeBrowning.
Oh yes, I haven't heard that.
Oh
name in a
look,
while.
Alex Ripper just popped in. He said, "I'm good. I think what's going wrong is me not being there, taking names and making statements. Ha 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 ha."
Have you had a talk with him to find out about what's going on with him lately?
He said that he's not licensed here in Kentucky yet.
Not at the moment.
Yeah.
And he's working on rectifying that. So, we got to give him time. And when he gets everything squared away and he's back in good graces, and he'll be back on the shows.
That's right. All he's got to do is be good, be smart. Because KWF is the place to be.
Well, that was our intention. And, everything starts off rocky until you get everything rolling. And until we can get the people of Frankfurt involved, showing up, word of mouth. We put our posters out, we put our signs up, we did everything, the 200 plus people at Miss Elizabeth's show and handed out flyers. And you can, that old thing about you can take a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Well, we do what we can to try to let everybody know. Like, we've got some of the greatest belts ever made here in Kentucky, made in Europe, shipped to us. We're a wrestling promotion that has wrestling masks out there. We've got T-shirts. We got all sorts of stuff. We have a concession stand. We have the greatest guardrails. Anybody else have guardrails like ours?
You have great guardrails.
Nobody has guardrails like us. They're not some rope strung between two poles. I remember years ago, it used to be a metal tire rim. It used to be a rim, and somebody would weld a metal rod, or they'd weld a metal rod to it that would stick straight up in the air, and it had an eye on the top. And you'd take out all these tire rims with the rods, and you'd put them in the corners, and then you'd run a rope through the eye of the top of the pole all the way around the ring, and that's what people were supposed to stand behind.
But y'all's are way better because y'all's are old school.
It looks better. I mean, to look at our belts, to see the plaques that's on our belts, and then you can kind of understand why our guardrail is what it is. And I'm kind of still worked up looking toward the ladies tournament. And that's all going to take place on one night. It won't be round one here and then a month later another round one. It's going to be 8 women and coming in all on one night. And I have my favorite. I have the one I'd like to see win it. And there's several others. JR has somebody in there that he'd wish could win it. And, I imagine Jen has somebody in there she'd like. But we have some names planned. And that's going to be just a wicked tournament. For one of the greatest looking belts around.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen all the belts. They all look gorgeous.
And they're not pieces of sheet metal.
No, they're not. No siree. They're all heavy as fuck, too.
I think if you grabbed one of those belts and smacked somebody in the head, that metal ain't going to give any. The head will. Yeah. years ago, I remember seeing belts 40, 50 years ago, and they were sheet metal. And you'd look at them and you'd think, like, I don't know where you had it made, but if it wasn't for this rivet here and that rivet there, this part of the plate would fall off. And you'd see some of the plates and some of the stars were broken because they were plastic stars. And somehow they got hooked onto the thing. And you were always kind of careful. Don't throw the thing around. Don't hit somebody too hard, because if you do, you actually bend the belt. And I've seen some people would take the belt out back and they'd lay the belt down, with the, they'd put a towel down, they'd put the metal part of the belt down with the leather on the back, and you'd see them sitting there smacking and pounding on it, trying to pound the belt back into a flat piece again.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah. Well, I hate to point names, but Dale Mann had pretty-looking belts when they were first made.
Hell
that
yeah.
was back when everything was being done sheet metal. But as the years went on, people got away from the sheet metal, and his belts kind of started looking second rate, and started taking in a lot of abuse, age. People would have belts that would have these little rhinestones all over them. You look at them,
they would.
They're diamonds. They're diamonds. Yeah, right. Yeah, they're. And you'd look at it real good, and they'd have rhinestones all over them, and they'd go out and throw the belt around. Then when you come back, you say, "Oh, there's 5 or 6 of them missing." Yeah, they're out there in the ring. Cheap belts.
Yeah.
These aren't cheap. These are not cheap.
And they're also from Europe.
Yep. Same place, the WWE, as I understand. And I'm forgetting the name of the country that they were made in. But then they were sent to Germany.
Nice.
And from Germany, they were then sent here to Kentucky.
Exactly.
And I think he said it took something like 3 weeks for the belts to even be sent. They said, the belts are done. We'll send them to you. And it was like 3 weeks later before the thing finally shows up. Took that long just to get them out of those countries over there and get sent over here to us. I think
that's right. That's why KWF is one of the best companies right now going.
I think probably the stiffest competition. Well, I don't ever look at OVW as being an independent wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
They're a different breed, a different level. And they're just not on the same as what all the rest of us in Kentucky are. And then you have to look at all the other promotions that's out there running, and there's like 30. 30 people have pro wrestling promoters licenses. And you look at all 30 people and who actually is running shows that really has got good shows. Well, you got Roger Ruffin running Northern Wrestling Federation, and that's the Cincinnati, Camden area.
Yeah.
And I've known Roger for years. And Roger has got an awesome training school up there.
Yeah, he does.
Big Mama is up there, and it's just, Wildcat Chris Harris is up there all the time, and he's one of the biggies. But then he doesn't come down into Kentucky very much. He does his Ohio, Cincinnati area around there, comes into northern Kentucky up in that corner. But then you got Appalachian, and you can't say that they're not one of the top 2 indie teams. And I don't think at this moment we can say that we are up there on that level yet.
Yeah.
We have the makings for being one of the top promotions. But then we're running once a month. And when you look at Appalachians, with all the talent they got over there, Marty and Kyle and Marcus Johnson and all those other guys, Wes Barker, and a whole bunch of others that don't even come over to this direction. Carlito is over there from WWE long ago. But that, to me, probably is the number 1 promotion that's running Kentucky. They're all over eastern Kentucky. Shows here, shows there, and they're drawing great crowds. Kentucky Wrestling Federation, we are going to run more shows. There are going to be more shows other than just first Sunday of the month. But we are just starting. and we have the tools to be a better promotion. You know, we got the ring, we got the skirts, we got the guardrails, we got the belts. You know, we have all this miscellaneous stuff, and we're trying to use the best wrestlers we can when we run on Sundays. But
You're smart.
You know, Appalachian is probably the best circuit in Kentucky that's running right now. Again,
really good.
not looking at OVW.
They are really good.
And, you know, Roger Ruffin and Appalachian, and then, you know, we're probably a third, at least a third.
I think
even
that
though we're only running once a month, but then, you know, we did the Miss Elizabeth thing, and that's going to happen once a year.
I think that you're going to be really one of the best promotions going in Kentucky because
When we
you've
get
already got
things
one of the
running.
best belts.
When we get things running. And, you know, we got the Miss Elizabeth thing. It's going to be once a year. We got the UPS thing. That's going to be once a year.
Yep.
We're going to have some fair shows to do. We've got Powell County coming up for us. We'll be doing that fair show. But and when the fair season starts this coming year, I hope that we have some more fairs. Like between USWF and UCW,
Hell yeah.
they probably, and I announced just about all of the USWF shows this past season and the season before and the season before, and so when the fair seasons come around, I announce for them. And if Terry England has shows that are close enough, and I'd love to do Caverna, and I've told him always keep Caverna, do not retire, keep Caverna, and keep the Western Kentucky State Fair. Even if those are the only two shows you do all year long, concentrate on making those two shows work.
You know how long
So-
you've been on the show tonight?
No, I have no idea.
We've actually been here 2 hours and 21 minutes.
We've been going.
Yes, we have.
So, yeah,
You got anything to promote?
when the next season comes open, I'm assuming that I'll be doing USWF, and I'll be doing some shows for Terry England and UCW, and I expect that, let's say, 4 or 5 months from now, we'll have our heavyweight champion. We'll probably crown our ladies champion. We'll be talking about tag team wrestling coming up. We're going to be talking about the different buildings and locations we're going to be at. We've got this one special show taking place in Louisville with 6 bands. You know, we've got things in the works, and it's going to take a while for us to be recognized as that, because we can go off and spout all we want to and say we're the best circuit in the state. Well, no, we're like one of the newest circuits. We're that little guy that's trying to yell to be a big boy, and
That's right.
if we want to be a big boy, we've got to spend our time and get ourselves up to that level. And Roger Ruffin and Northern Wrestling Federation has been doing this for years.
He really has.
And Appalachian, not anywhere as long as Roger, or Rated X Jimmy Walls, or Terry England, but what they got going is really strong, really good. And maybe they run show after show after show all over the place, and we're concentrating on the first Sunday of every month, and then from there we'll branch out.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're just getting our feet wet now.
And also, you got the September 20th show coming up, the fair. You got the next show that's going to be the big show first Sunday of next month. And then you got the October 18th Clash with the Metal show, because you're going to be having 6 bands, 4 matches,
Yeah.
one big main event of that show.
Well, I would say on your Facebook page, Nice Guy Andy podcast page, they'll be mentioning on all sorts of stuff on there.
That's
So
right.
All that'll get thrown out there. And there are things that's actually going on in Kentucky Wrestling Federation that I can't talk about. JR can't talk about.
That's
There are
right.
things that are in the works that when the trigger is pulled, we're going to want to tell. And we've got some things going on that's going to put smiles on your face. But it's too early to say. We can't tell you what we're doing, where we're going, who we got. We can't tell you any of that stuff because, the old thing about you got to dot your I's and cross your T's, and you got to do all this stuff first.
You got to keep your finger to your lips.
And because one of the worst things would be for me to all say, hey, guess where we're going? Guess what we're getting ready to do? Guess what this? Guess what? No. Because if I tell you 5 things,
you might slip up.
And 4 things come true and 1 thing falls under, everybody's going to not remember the 4 things true. They're going to remember, like, well, Dale said this and it didn't happen. And all that's total. So you'll hear from us as things develop.
And that's the way it should be, because this has been a hell of a show, Dale. Because not only have we been able to get more info about NWA, Dale T Man, old school wrestling, how wrestling's supposed to be, but we've had the man, the myth, the legend himself, Dale Bass, wrestling license number 1, in studio for the 3rd or 4th time now. Oh, how many times?
4.
Yep, 4.
Oh yeah,
And we hope to get more from you, brother, because there's so much wealth of knowledge from you.
Did they tell you I was trying to shy away from ever doing this?
Yes, they did.
Did they tell you why?
Yes.
Because sometimes I go and all of a sudden, empty spot.
Yeah.
And it's so stupid to be talking and then all of a sudden you lose your train of thought. You forget. You can't remember dates, places, names. Things that should just pop right on out. And like, well, Dale's lost it. He's 70-some years old and he's ready for the home.
Hey, that's all right, brother, because we would definitely have you back in here.
I want to continue wrestling in the wrestling business as long as I can. I enjoy what I'm doing, and as long as people want me to be involved with helping them, great. J.R. Rock, I didn't go chase him down. He asked me if I was interested in being part of his dream. And I said, yes, absolutely. This sounds great. Even if this is the last business that I'm ever part of, go out with a bang.
And with that, Dale Bass, it's been a pleasure. Brother, thank you for yet again giving us a time of your life. Guys at home, we at the Nice Game Podcast just want to say, keep on watching Kentucky Wrestling Federation. First Sunday of, well, actually, we don't know if it's going to be first Sunday of every month, but next month it will be the first Sunday of the month. Keep an eye out, because every Sunday, every month, you'll get Kentucky Wrestling Federation. Starting with this month, September 7th, which already happened. September 20th, the first show. October of next year.
Next year?
God dang.
So you remember the dates better than I do. I have to have a book in front of me, or I have to have them written down to remember these dates.
Sometimes I mess up.
That spot in my head.
Sometimes my words get flooded up, but it is supposed to be the first Sunday of next month.
First Sunday of every month.
And then
Kentucky Wrestling Federation.
October 18th is a big show, the WWME. And after that is the Kentucky Wrestling Federation shows that you're going to get every Sunday of every month.
Every first Sunday of every month.
That's right. I didn't know if y'all were going to do first Sundays or not.
Well, as far as that main show, it will be the first Sunday. But we still have 3 other Sundays in the month, and things, we are working, and until we get things worked out and, the I's dotted and the T's crossed, we are every Sunday in Frankfurt.
That's right.
And we'll see what happens as time goes.
That's right. You want to give your goodbyes to them?
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. I know I didn't talk much. I'm very new to the wrestling world, so I don't really know much currently. However, it was absolutely a pleasure to actually meet you. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and today was great.
Hey, guys, stay nice.
Staying nice is overrated. Me and you both know it.
That's true.
Being evil is fun.
Yes, it is.
Exactly.
Nice Guy Andy podcast. Skullface Records Radio.
Do you ever have times where you can't find somebody?
Yeah.
Well, I'm at the end of the phone.